Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for tuning in to the very last day of the Overwatch World Cup APAC Group B online qualifiers. And last day is going to be a little bit of a fun day because everything's locked in, nothing left to play for. I lied to you yesterday. I said I was going to have a little coconut drink cup, but I couldn't find one because it's the middle of winter here. So I'm currently very cold wearing a short sleeve shirt for you. My name is Matt Pixie Carroll. Joining me here also in a short sleeve shirt because he doesn't feel the cold is Kevin Avril Walker, and I don't know how long her sleeves are, but we've also got Domino with us. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, really good. I'm very excited for the Australia versus New Zealand match today, the one we've all been waiting for, so I'm excited to see it.
Can I call you out for lying one last time? There's
Please
nothing
do.
you lied about. There is something to play for today. Seeding, because Australia hasn't guaranteed first seed in this group just yet.
Fair enough.
They do need to beat New Zealand today to confirm that. I'll explain in a little bit more detail a little bit later on, so we've still got that to look forward to.
There is one last thing you can also play for, and that's glory. But let's go ahead and actually take a look at how the whole tournament shakes out, because if we're talking about two teams qualifying out of this APAC Group B, you can see just at the bottom there, they then go through to that group stage where we will have 16 total teams. 2 teams will qualify out of each group stage into those quarterfinals. So we're actually catching up with the teams that qualified out, Australia and Thailand, yes, about how they felt going into that. Some of the teams they were maybe okay with, who they didn't want to come up against, who they maybe did want to have a bit of a rematch against if they had any history there, how far they expected themselves to go in the tournament, and a bit of interesting thoughts there. We're sort of at the business end of it, or indeed the deal is all done and locked in. We're just hashing out the finer details, dotting our I's, crossing our T's.
It's true. Some groups have 3 teams making out, not ours.
Ugh, whatever.
So just the 2, just Thailand
Just the 2.
and Australia.
And let's go ahead and take a look at Thailand and Australia yesterday in those matches where they've successfully qualified out. You see Australia versus Malaysia here. This was, again, speaking of dotting I's and crossing T's, this one was a little bit of a formality for the Aussie squad.
Yeah, definitely one of probably the easier matchups Australia had, but obviously they did still want to take it seriously because if they win all their matches, they will go undefeated in the entirety of the online qualifiers here. So I can imagine, even though Australia, easier map, definitely want to take it seriously. And then India versus Thailand, one of the toughest matchups we've probably seen and probably one of the best game matchups we've seen. It was very close. They did go to the push map, all the way to the push map, but Thailand did eventually take it out and win, which has put them very comfortably in 2nd position and will qualify out. So I'm sure they're very, very happy about that win there.
Yeah, and about 3 meters in it on that last one came down to the final fight, a very close run affair the whole way through. And we were sort of talking about it at the time. Not only was it one of the best matches we've seen, it was also one of the highest stakes matches we've had. Because obviously India, they still had a match ahead of them, but it's against Singapore today. Very winnable match for them. This is the do or die, or indeed was the do or die one for both of these teams. Winner was almost guaranteed to qualify in. In the case of Thailand, they were guaranteed to qualify in, and the loser was guaranteed to not be in. So, bit of a heartbreaker there on the whole, and you can see how that has affected the standings.
And so now Thailand and I believe Malaysia as well have fully played out all their games. Nothing left to play through. I believe Malaysia should be on a 1 and 4 there instead, but in either case, they are going to end up in the bottom 2. Still a chance for maybe Singapore to snipe away that 5th place, but they would have to beat India today. But the prime matchup we're looking forward to is Australia versus New Zealand. Australia sitting on 4-0. They could go 5-0 here flawlessly. If they go 5-0, obviously they're going to be number 1 in our group. But if they actually lose to New Zealand, they go 4-1, we go over to a tiebreaker versus Thailand. But the way that's going to work is, I've worked it out to be Australia needs to, even if they lose by at least a scoreline of 1-2. So the only way Australia go below Thailand in seedings is if they lose to New Zealand 0-2.
Spicy.
But as long as they get 1 map versus New Zealand, regardless of whether they win or lose, they've got locked in.
Let's go ahead and take a look. We've had a little bit of a preview of it, of the matches that we've got on the cards for today. India versus Singapore. Should be an opportunity to finish on a high for India after the tough beat yesterday, the one that locked them out of officially qualifying. This will at least be a little bit of a recovery for them. And then we finally round things out with the long-awaited Trans-Tasman rivalry. As we said, there is a slim chance that this can affect the ultimate standings. Really what these two teams are playing for is a little bit of national pride.
Sounds good to me.
Yep. Do you feel proud?
Me?
Or Domino, either.
Or Domino.
Are neither of you proud?
I'm very proud of the Australian team. I think they've done really well, but we did say that they were probably one of the toughest teams to beat, and we did predict they would be at the top of the leaderboard, if not top 2 of the leaderboard. So I don't think there are any surprises there. We do think that they'll beat New Zealand, because even if they didn't beat New Zealand and they still qualified as top 2, I think they want to go undefeated. Like saying you were undefeated in your group stage, I think is something to, be able to say. And I think they'll definitely want to do that.
Well,
so,
and also
bragging rights a little bit at the end there.
And I do believe you are less likely to be in a group with other top seeds. I don't know exactly how that.
We don't know that exactly just yet, but
I would like
sure
to think
that
it
would be the
does.
case.
Basically, you're trying to avoid South Korea being in your group, and this is your best shot at that. That's what I'm going to go ahead and assume. But we've got one match ahead of that, and that is, of course, Singapore versus India. Cannot affect the outcomes, like I said, or just for a little bit of either maybe potential recovery for Singapore, or a little bit of restored glory for India after their tough loss yesterday. And another little bit of a shake-up to the Singapore squad. Once again, we have Vital out. Cup has had to switch back over to the DPS role from support, so we're seeing Fafa coming back in. They actually ran this across, I believe, days 2 and 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that.
So, yeah, so we have seen this particular incarnation of the Singapore lineup before, so they're going to be rolling out on today.
Singapore have at least won a single map in this World Cup qualifier. They did take away a map from Malaysia in day number 1. It's just, and it has been a bit of a struggle. Opportunity here that, maybe they can, if there's a chance to beat India, they can maybe sneak away in 5th place. We'd have to look at some tiebreaker scenarios there as well. But otherwise, we talk about Australia going 5-0 potentially. Singapore, they're trying to avoid going 0-5.
Yeah, it's not a position that you ever particularly want to be in. Let's go ahead, though, and take a look at what's on the other side of the fence here. For the India squad, we'll be seeing the same thing that we've seen so far. Talk us through the roster, Domino.
Yeah, India's been a very strong team. They have put up quite a fight. Unfortunately, they did lose yesterday, but they done really well. Like, they were one of the top contenders. We thought they would potentially be in 2nd place over Thailand, so I think we might have been a bit surprised. Maybe that they did end up in 3rd place. They are definitely going to want, I think they're going to want to make this a 2-0 themselves so that they can at least go out with a bang. Even if they don't qualify through, they've still done incredibly well in this tournament. And 3rd place is still something to, call home about. Like, well done. It's still an amazing effort.
And indeed would be calling home, because obviously the whole team is currently in Vancouver on land. They actually moved out there to boot camp, and I feel like that almost... Again, that's part of why you want to have a little bit of a good one here, because you're all still over there now. It didn't work out for you in terms of qualifying. Might as well turn it into a holiday, finish on a good one, go out with the boys, have a bit of a night on it, and just enjoy the rest of your time there. I think that would be about as good as an outcome as you can get without actually managing to qualify in.
Yeah, so a chance to finish strong here versus Singapore. Last year they qualified for both of these two teams. I'm looking forward to seeing India at least one last time to show their prowess on screen. It should be a tough one for Singapore. All the games so far have been pretty tough for Singapore, but maybe a chance for Singapore to maybe try and redeem themselves as well.
I think that's kind of the rub of the whole thing here, right? Is it's all just about how these teams can feel about the end of it all here, and well, with that, there's nothing but to do but to take a look at what we're going to be playing on. Ilios will be the first map around this time. Same structure as before. Loser picks subsequent map. They'll be picking from a choice of hybrid or escort, and it is a 1st to 2. So there is a potential for ties on a couple of these map modes. We got to push for the 3rd map, and then if we've had a 1-1 and a draw somewhere in there, then we go back to control for our last map there. Any last thoughts before we go ahead and get stuck into Ilios?
The only thing I was going to say, like, even if you don't qualify out of this stage, I feel like this has been a really good learning experience for all the players. And I feel like, even if the players go back, watch their VODs and learn from what they've done here in this tournament, I feel like it's a really big growth and improvement opportunity for all the players here. So yeah, that's what I would be taking away from it if I didn't qualify out, is how can I learn and grow as a player and just be the best player I can in Overwatch from this experience.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and get stuck in game. We'll catch you on the other side, and I think you raise a fair point there. I mean, posterity will be kind to this India squad despite the loss against Thailand yesterday, and I'd say in spite of whatever happens today, because they have showed up big for a country that hasn't been able to have a lot of direct representation, both in the World Cup and just in professional Overwatch in general. Really great to see that happen. I mean, I can cast my mind back to a time when Thailand were in a very similar situation where they hadn't really had many opportunities despite having a few gems in there, a few diamonds in the rough, and then they finally had a decent showing. They still didn't even qualify out of the particular World Cup that I'm thinking of. This is when we saw the likes of Apudo and Patapan for the first time. And look at where they've come now. Look at what has happened to them in the years down the line. And I think this really sets India off on the right kind of trajectory. And really, this match is all about continuing on that trajectory.
It's time to close it out and prove that they are indeed, at minimum, 3rd best here, right behind Team Thailand. Or perhaps even Australia if they somehow don't beat New Zealand, but we'll get to that game a little bit afterwards. Let's head right into Ilios Ruins here. I'm out onto the Wood. Ryan Comp coming through for India. Ram for Singapore. Pretty standard stuff. No one's running anything too strange. Want to make a gameplay on Ruins is still somewhat standard.
I'm gonna have to see if Iron Man is able to get the run of things on that Widow. Has generally performed fairly well on it. Ashkane taking a bit of a pummeling. Pun absolutely intended there from Pummy. That's Immortality Field forced out. Actually, Fuffers in. Not quite in the Immortality Field. Caught out around the side. Now Paper dispatched him as the Immortality Field goes down, and India used theirs to press forward on to keep their members alive. Very nice, very cleanly executed.
Good little 3K coming through from Iron Man. As India now will comfortably take the first cap, take the first win on the fight. Singapore, I don't believe they got a kill in that particular fight either, so they'll be a little slow. Akash doing the brunt of the damage. First ultimate online. It's going to come through on the Earth Shadow. So, now even on a support, typically you'd be seeing at making first.
Nicely caught there, Iron Man with the aerial on Vips, and Akash even picking up Fuffers in with the fire strike to dust them off. First death on the Indian squad is going to be Captain Prash. Go down to Ashkane. Wasn't quite in the Immortality Field there, unfortunately, but still collecting kills. So able to get another one. Charge cross, not quite going to be enough to catch, I believe that's Paper here, but he will get him with the hammer anyway. Really, I mean, look at how aggressive this hold is for India.
Akash already on 67% after using the Shatter. So it's a combination of the fact that Iron Man got first pick. Akash follows up with a Shatter very safely. Singapore are actually getting a couple more kills now.
Yeah.
Akash going down's quite curious.
And I mean, they could be punished a little bit here for that really forward hold. You see a quick rotation from Singapore. Even some Indian players isolated from the team here, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, you're actually seeing their abs kind of cut off. Not going to go down to the rotation. Singapore are actually ignoring those members and just trying to get aggressive, which actually gives India an opportunity because those isolated players haven't been finished off. Abs is going to go ahead, lay some damage down onto Paper to confirm that kill after he took a body shot from Iron Man's Widowmaker. Does go down, but here we go, a cash back in the mix. Double fire strike, and I believe those were Earth-Shattered members as well. So Singapore, by not finishing off the extra separated players, actually end up letting India pincer them. Singapore didn't even get eyeballs on the points, let alone boots.
Once it comes through, I don't know if that actually ended up. Okay, it's like in the ceiling. No, it's in the ceiling.
Oh.
It's on top of the shuttle for some reason. Akash misses the pin to get away, so he's going to stuck at the moment. Akash will likely go down here.
Yeah, got a sound barrier, but he's getting healed up. Look at that. Shields in all directions, and it's working. Immortality Field, they're trying to keep him alive. There we go. It forces the annihilation out of Ashkane, but I'm going to be honest, Iron Man's picked up 2 more, so even with that, Singapore not able to collect the point.
Well, to get a couple of kills, I believe, for Singapore. They only got 1 ult, right? Ashkane.
Yep.
Dropping in the annihilation, and we end the round with 4 ultimates still on board for Singapore that never ended up being used. A tiny bit of spawn camp there. Not an entire spawn camp, given that India didn't, win those spawn camps. They kind of got punished. A few players did die. But a very one-sided round in either case, as you'd sort of expect. And as we head into, I believe this is Lighthouse. No, actually, it could be Whelp, but in either case, we are going to see the inclusion of some flying characters. It is actually Lighthouse. It's now going to be Echo versus another Echo, and Iron Man's even going to come through on Afara, the Bane of India. They're going to pick it themselves. It's going to be double flyer. Captain Prash on double duty here to heal both.
Yeah, all the way. This is going to be very interesting to say the least. And Ashkane going aggressive with the Wrecking Ball. Akash is going to have a very fun time on the ground here, I think.
Vips is going to have to really try his best to somehow win this 2v1. It's actually more like a 2v3. There's the Mercy involved on both sides.
Oh, and Vips is already down to Pummy. Look at that, just completely on top of him, and now so much damage coming across. Last shot will collect Paper. Very nicely collected there from Iron Man. That'll be India able to rotate over to the point as it starts to unlock. Oh, nice follow-up to find Fuffers in. A little bit low there, Pummy, but he's got the Widow in the pocket. The Mercy in the pocket, and cut drilled down by the beam. The focusing beam, indeed.
Some good targeting focus there with Vips going down first. That's your primary target, and after that, Paper to follow, which is the Mercy player. Cup's now changed over towards the Soldier. Well, you got to do something to help out your teammates in the sky. Iron Man in a bit of trouble here, but alive. Can't send the same for Ashkane.
Ended up just choosing to take the dive there rather than let the extra shot go the way of Iron Man.
No, I think he tried to power drive onto the high ground, but just kind of missed.
Which is funnier, strictly speaking. Akash not quite connecting on the charge there, by the way. Pummy brought low, but again, Captain Prash just comfortably alternating between Pummy and Iron Man.
Singapore are playing largely the right heroes. I mean, they went the Diva as well. They have the Echo in play already. Soldier's okay. I think the Cassie's probably a little bit better here, but I don't know what cut really plays.
Anti-heal will do it for Pummy that time around, leaves him exposed to Vips. And Paper actually coming in for a res on Buffers in, so this is an opportunity for Singapore. That's two picks up, Paper and Buffers in. Yeah, they do find Iron Man as well, so there's actually no DPSs in play, but Captain Prash, Battle Mercy, will collect up Cup. Nearly actually had Vips there as well. That would have been a little bit of a devastating blow. But even then, Singapore still actually need to get onto the point, and this has just bought time for Pummy to rejoin.
And Karsh is having a much slower game this time. There's just no targets for the Ryan, unfortunately. He's got no one to hit, no one to swing his hammer on. Vips copying over towards the Ana. Should be,
again.
I was going to say D-Mech, but getting rid of the duplicate in any case.
Yeah. Pummy not actually duplicating there could have potentially saved his life. A cash fights Buffers in. Iron Man low. Oh, no, too low. Too low on the skybox there. Didn't have the boost to bring him back into the air. But even then, despite having more kills, Singapore were almost going to lose the point in the middle of that one. But here we go. We'll be able to collect it up. India to make a couple of changes. Iron Man is just having a whale of a time.
This will be interesting.
I'm digging it, man. They're having a field day. And yeah, all right, duplicated
Diva. Got a kill.
Can he get no self-destruct? Likely to get popped out of
the support's getting in there.
It's actually nearly he's gonna be able to remech. Look at that. The Bastion just kind of marching forward. We'll go onto the point. Cash is down. They would have liked the Cash alive for this Bastion to be here.
They'd like to prevent this cap if they can, but
self-destruct on the point from Ashkane.
No, Baby was surviving, actually.
Visor out as well from Cup, so they've managed to dust off Pummy thanks to that. And yeah, now Iron Man a little bit of trouble, does go down. India maybe need to regroup. They've got themselves a little bit split up. They did actually properly regroup and go in for a concerted push this time around.
Yeah, they're actually about to be overtaken. Look at that, Singapore. Yeah. 58, 59, and that will be in the lead.
Ashkane's going to get demec'd here. Oh,
Captain Prash is disconnected.
Got to pause.
So India in a little bit of a weird spot. Not going to lie, they are slowly changing compositions away from the Flyers. I mean, both of them are gone now. Iman on Genji, who already has one on Genji for, I believe, a life at this stage. Swapped over from Bash onto Genji. Now Pummy onto the Reaper. So they actually got things are getting a little bit wild with both Paper and Captain Prash in the kill feed, getting kills on other supports and all that kind of business. But if India want to sweep the series and just confirm their scoreline on the leaderboard, they need to take back control this round.
Yeah, they need to take it a little bit more seriously, shall we say. I think that's a fair assessment. And I mean, part of that more than anything, like more than even just the hero picks, is just they've let themselves solo queue it a little bit, and they've gone in one by one, got a little bit disconnected from one another. Now very physically disconnected, in fact, with Captain Prash, unfortunately, having some connectivity issues. Hopefully we'll be able to get that resolved shortly.
Needs to top off his Nick FA account.
Yeah, I was going to say, hasn't paid the hourly rollover.
Mm-hmm. That's the good news, is they're all in the same location, so whatever they need to do to sort it out, should be able to sort it out.
But if it's internet, you'd think all of them would get disconnected, right? Who knows what's going on?
Definitely not internet.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get this one resolved shortly for Captain Prash. Hopefully not too much of an issue. We are just going to go ahead and take a little bit of a breather in the meantime, so do stick around. Hopefully we'll have this resolved and be back with you shortly.
You asked, we listened. The McFeast is back in all its beefy, salady, saucy glory. Value means more at Macca's, so grab a McFeast lunch deal now for only $5.95.
All right, well, we have everything hopefully resolved and all sorted. Players are probably ready to go. So let's not waste any time and get stuck straight back into the game. And, well, I'm kind of excited to see how things proceed from here, because obviously Singapore have actually pulled ahead. They're currently holding on to the point. We should have that game live for you in just a hot second. We were talking a little bit before we went to break about how India kind of just need to tidy up the gameplay a little bit here, not let this one run away from them. This is a very winnable map for them.
So a reset required here. Karsh is down. Ashcan is going to fall off the map, though, to also reset. So, okay.
And paper picked.
Despite Akash being down, you know, the players, DPSs in line to get the kills. Crash coming out of spawn now, still at the mercy for some reason. I think this is a situation where you start thinking more about Lucio. He's swapped over towards a ground cop now.
And that pick up from Ashcan, yeah, that was Abs just kind of holding his own, landed asleep, and then a classic extra sort of nade shot to kill. At least force the D-mech, rather.
Iron Man trying to get real aggressive here, kind of failing the wall climb slightly, but gets in there eventually.
It's unfortunate. Paper did actually have an anti-heal on him for just a brief second there, but not quite able to take advantage. Iron Man even has a nano boost delivered from Abs, fails the wall climb again, so a little bit of a heartbreaker. Still goes in and finds Fuffers in. What else can he pick up? Finds Cup. Nicely collected. More than happy with that, you would be. But trying to get onto Paper as well, would be able to confirm that one, and round in the end of 90% now, just collecting the last one on Vips. Won't even get a Dragon Blade in time by the looks of things. Maybe able to pull it out just as the 99% collects. Ah, has it. Has the point. Doesn't need the Dragon Blade.
Solid 4-piece. His Mercy died, doesn't matter. Got the nano, got the kills. And India, despite the disconnections there, Prash gets back in. They get back to the point. And we're off to the races. Iron Man, I believe this was the opening 4K on Ruins as well.
Would not surprise me.
A well-played scenario.
Caught out the Lucio, who was above the Immortality field, and it just all started to fall apart from there. Paper poking his head out again, outside of the Immortality field, ever so slightly. Very nicely done from Iron Man.
Definitely. Iron Man really opened up a lot of the team fights there, and Singapore didn't seem to have a response to it. Well done to Singapore, though, getting a bit of the upper hand there on the Lighthouse map. It was good to see that India did come back, though, and take things a little bit more seriously, maybe, realizing that potentially Singapore was going to pull ahead, because it did seem like India were relaxing a little, like, look, they're probably going to win this, but you still need to take it serious enough that you do win it. So it's all good, you know, it's all well and good to have a bit of fun, pick some fun heroes and that, but when you actually, you know, you still need to respect the other team. They could still potentially beat you.
You ever seen those clips of someone who's like clearly about to win a race, and then they like start cheering for themselves and slow down, and then the guy behind them passes them and finishes ahead of them? You ever seen that? India needed to make sure they didn't do that, and I think they've pulled it back in a little bit tidier. And well, whatever happened with Captain Prash there as well, I do hope that doesn't become a recurring issue for them, because you don't really hate to see that just be an extra speed bump that they have to keep wrestling with. Hopefully it's all done and dusted. But with that speed done and dusted, 1-0 up is India, exactly where they wanted to be, exactly where they were expected to be. We'll go ahead and see if they can close out this series comfortably right after this break.
You asked, we listened. The McFeast is back in all its beefy, salady, saucy glory. Value means more at Macca's, so grab a McFeast lunch deal now for only $5.95.
Well, welcome back. Thank you very much for sticking with us. We are 1-0 up India versus Singapore. Looking forward to our second map in this series. It would be Singapore collecting another 0-2 to add to the set. Wouldn't be all 0-2s. They did pick up that one map win against Malaysia early on in the tournaments. They at least have that in their corner. Speaking of which, this was not a hot start for Singapore, I have to say. Speaking of being cornered, they were stuck in their base for a significant portion of ruins.
I'll tell you what, though, if there is a lottery chance there for Singapore to somehow win the series, despite losing the first map, if they just win the series at all, even a 2-1 scoreline, they would actually still place above Malaysia, funnily enough. So they just have to somehow win.
That is funny. That is really funny.
Wait, actually?
Yeah, because Malaysia only have 2 map wins, and they got those 2 map wins versus Singapore. Singapore also got 1 map win in that series, so if Singapore win at all, they have 3
They
maps.
have the better map differential.
Exactly.
Isn't that fascinating? Absolutely incredible. Well, we'll see if that comes to pass. It would be a reverse sweep.
It's unlikely, but
Very unlikely.
I put it out in the world. I put it out in the world.
Certainly wouldn't put anything on it if I were a gambling man. They do get to pick the next map, though, which is to say we're definitely going to see Circuit Royale. But who knows what composition we'll see on Circuit Royale.
Probably the same
they
stuff.
have a choice of so many different escorts and hybrids.
If Singapore have a sense of humor, they'll pick Shambhali Monastery. Because that is where India took their loss against Australia.
Just pick Blizzard World because.
Just
because.
That's... by the way, that is... I'm not sure what's going on there, but there was India that won the first map, so this is Singapore's map pick here on Blizzard World.
Oh
Just to be clear.
my goodness, what a guess.
Would you like me to predict the weather as well?
Sure, go ahead.
It's going to be raining on Blizzard World.
Are you pulling tarot cards right now? Is that what's happening?
It's going to be raining on Blizzard
It'd be really
World.
funny
so,
if that's what's happening.
Yeah, I don't know how I know
can't
that.
believe you got that.
Yeah.
Impressive.
You know,
Impressive.
Sometimes it just happens, you know, you
All so hard.
Yep.
This man and his predictions, honestly, what a record that he's got.
Exactly.
I think the only time I ever won was when I tried to go for the own goal. I could only win when I fundamentally changed the rules.
Well, Dominic, you got your wish. We are seeing a non-Circle Royale map.
Yeah! I love Blizzard
I know, I'm
World.
so excited. But I have no idea what to expect from the teams because we've literally seen nobody play
Probably
this map.
a Bastion.
More Ram.
Probably some.
lot
I
of
think you're going to
Ram.
see some interesting stuff. But at any rate, let's go ahead, jump on across to Blizzard World. Absolutely love this map. Never get tired of it. Grab something from the concession stands. Speaking of which, quick shout out to Macca's. Go ahead and grab yourself a McFeast lunch deal for only $5.95.
It's sunny now,
But
just wait till you line up to go to the theme park.
this guy pulled a tarot card before the match. He pulled the tower,
Uh-huh.
so it's going to rain.
What does the tower mean?
Bad.
Is it?
Yeah.
Actually?
It's basically like ruination.
Oh.
I did a tarot reading for the year this year just as a lark. I can't remember the card, but it's like one of the like money-oriented ones as like the what's your
You
theme for the
pulled
year.
the coin.
So my theme for the year was going to be finances, and then the very first card I pulled was the tower. So it's like, cool, kicking off
Lack
the
of
year,
finances.
financial ruination. And you know what? It was right. Because at the start of this year, I was paying double rent because I'd moved out recently and we weren't able to get tenants in the old place. I was paying double rent. I drained all of my savings.
That just sounds
until
like
we
you made
finally able
poor
to get new
decisions.
tenants.
So here we go.
I made decisions. Well, I was certainly
Speaking
poor
of decisions,
afterwards.
Abs has gone DPS, Pummy's gone over to support,
Did I hear a rock and stone?
and Iron Man is playing the Torb. Ashcan played ball the last man. We'll play ball again.
Abs is already on the point. Iron Man's found Vips. They're just gonna.
Would you believe he didn't get the tech?
Just immediately
Would
assassinates
you believe
him.
that he did not get the tech? It's quite sad, really.
Akash is too busy emoting to put his shield up. What? Captain Brash actually raised Iron Man, who's now taking an anti-heal. Might well go down here if they're not careful. Now Captain Brash in a little bit of trouble. Akash is there, does not put the shield up. What? Blizzard Worlds. Turret under fire. How did I do? Is that good?
Pummy, 5 out of 6. 5 out of 7.
5 out of 7? Thanks,
5 out of
appreciate
8.
that.
I'm going to reduce the score
How would
further.
that be with Rice?
Same score.
Same score with Rice, thank you. Vips, slowly making his way back in.
Much better.
And large health pack control off the side here. India can just take their time and push on the normal way. We're starting to see that now. Manual hack on the Ash Kane. Has to duck for cover a little bit. By the way, role swap. Abs is on DPS. Pummy is on support. Vips has been killed. I wish I could grind something with support very quickly because that would have been clever. At any rate, though, losing Iron Man in this one. Vips is slowly going to make his way back on a Torbjorn, actually, as Pummy finds paper.
I want you to know that role swap was mentioned, so we're glad we cleared that up.
Yep. And Cut does die despite getting an EMP off. Still contested last still a bit of the point, but here we go. The tick to come over. Cut is underway. Ash Kane is in the wrong location. Akash goes a bit too far forward. Eats a little bit of turret fire. Adds as well. Same deal. I'm having a blast. I'm having the time of my life.
Alpha probably could have ulted there. Yeah, this one, this game is definitely a little bit over the place. Singapore still haven't really been able to properly regroup. We've swapped Torb players, which is actually not bad for Vips. I think playing Torb versus mostly dive DPSs, well, just full dive DPSs, the Ryan is an interesting choice with anything else. 2 players emoting on the payloads. We push
Yes, so I can boogie, but I need a simple song as Akash goes down. Not quite his beat, not quite his jam. Now Abs having to pull away with translocate. Didn't even pick up the big health pack. That wasn't quite where he was. Ash K was expecting that.
Paper sleeping.
Now Captain Crash going for it. They've got the damage coming back in from Abs. Ash Kane takes a manual hack. A little bit of a duel off the side. Vips is super powered, super charged. He's got a nano boost. Nearly called it a Bano Noost. Nearly done that many a time in my storied career. EMP ready here for Abs. Goes aggressive, gets the turret with it, immediately dispatches off, factors in. Paper in trouble as well. Nope, will survive. Vips not so lucky, and neither is his turret. That'll be the card continuing to push forward as Ash Kane coming in with a minefield now. Akash is very relaxed about the whole thing.
Slowly pushing through. He's going to stay on the payload today.
Yeah.
And Ash Kane had to run away. Got away with his life, actually.
Yeah, Akash didn't even swing his hammer at him. The only thing he wants to swing the hammer at is the Sal gets put to sleep, eats an anti-heal, in a little bit of trouble, will go down for it. Buffers in, though, also down, by the way. And that was the man pushing the cart for them. They're still making progress, though, like, across the course of this, despite the, shall we say, lackadaisical play. They're still actually making cart progress.
They're about to get some good ultimates here as well to actually get this cap.
Yeah.
I mean, with that catch down, it's not like Singapore have really flushed out the rest of India, so India's still holding strong positions, even without the tank, and they're still getting individual picks.
Iron Man nano boosted up, actually. And here we go, EFP across. Transcend is still running. They find a cache once again, still not able, unfortunately, to use that Earth Shatter. Abs nearly has his own EMP available. Iron Man,
and the cap,
a little bit of damage.
Is there.
Yep, there we go. They're not even on the point, despite still having, at that particular point, 4 members available and around in the area. So if India are appearing lackadaisical, Singapore, equally so, are letting this one get away from them.
Just got Nano there, saved his life from the Shatter. So Singapore, they're not planning to spawn camp, but that's the situation they find themselves in. Prash decides to go live Weaver, nearly died for his efforts.
Akash is just standing still under the Symmetra turret. He's getting out-healed.
I mean, it's just feeding ult charge over to support, so it's actually not a bad strat.
Yeah.
At this rate, though, you do need to push. I think Akash should return to his duty as a payload pusher.
Iron Man now on a Junkrat. It's a very interesting game.
This one's fallen to pure chaos.
Yeah. Well, it hasn't ascended to chaos. I think that's actually what's going on. Manual hack onto Ashkane. Moz and Core down as well. Call that toothpaste. Look at that. Glowing. That could be your teeth. 9 out of 10 dentists recommend Torbjorn. I've actually found a company called 9 out of 10 Dentists, and you can purchase my recommendation for the low price of $5.95.
I want to change things up a little bit more. So the Torb is gone now. Oh, that's a really sneaky little trap.
Oh, nice catch. Nice sleep.
I still like to see Cup translocate into the trap. The trap's probably gone by now, actually.
Yeah. Hate to see it. Could have been fun.
We're about to see a tree alive come through. Rare ultimate, life from Weaver sees no play. And typically not long enough for you to actually find an ultimate. It's not going to happen this life unless Prash survives Santi.
Will actually be our second one doesn't survive. Will actually be the second Tree of Life we've seen this tournament.
And the first one, I believe, didn't really accomplish too much. So.
Nope, it did not. And I don't imagine this one will either.
And we're not going to see it at all. Prash has gone to Kriko.
Nope.
So.
That is really funny.
You know what? That's probably for the best. I don't think it's a very good ultimate. So.
Nope. But it is if you are an arborist enthusiast. Abs translocates right into the thick of the action. Akash and Pummy just sort of juggling aggro there. Akash going to go down here. Not sure where he is. Not sure where any of these members of India are at most times. Certainly not on the payload.
Running around. Definitely running around.
There. Oh, Iron Man. Well, he's certainly not running anymore.
Catch you later.
This is what my games are like.
You have to play the game to get games, though. I'll be honest with you.
That's a manual hack onto Pummy. He's actually nearly killed Cup, though. Finally dies to Vips.
I think this is a point in time where India can, I suppose in the overtime, drop some ultimates in. And
cool.
get the cap.
Akash on the high ground. They've found Vips. Buffers in a little bit low, likely to go down. There we go. Fire Strike will collect it. They still lose a couple of members. That's the thing, you've still got a shatter, but they've lost a couple of members. Ghost on paper, way short with Ashkane drilling damage into the back of him. Bit of an odd choice there by Akash, and 15 seconds on the clock.
Plenty of those, I think, today for a lot of people. So that's what we've descended into again.
Well, 5 seconds.
Actually,
not sure if someone's going to
cap anymore. Yeah, it's not looking good for a cap at all.
I still kind of want to see them do it in the overtime. That's going to be a big EMP, a big minefields, and here we go. Quick collection. Not going to be a cap from India. No cap, as the kids say. But honestly, Kevin, I'm going to live with you. I do think 84.27 meters is actually still going to be enough.
It's quite possible. It's quite possible. Let's take a look at what India defense looks like. This could be a really interesting one. Probably a Torb come through again. Why not?
Torb and Bastion. Remember Pirate Ship?
That's a long time ago.
That was
You're
a
not gonna see that
long
again.
time ago.
Pretty much ever again.
Pirate Ship on Junkertown.
Probably for the best.
Yep.
To be honest with you. Part of the reason why you can't run it is because you can't sit in turret the entire way through.
Yeah.
It's a cooldown,
Yeah.
so it's not like you can just chill. That and you have one less tank to play with to defend you.
Yeah. Really relied on the extra bit of defense you'd get there. But at any rate, speaking of defense, India, they are in fact rolling out on a Bastion. Not Bastion Torb, mind you, but still. See how it goes.
Got the Akash ball as well. Both teams looking at ball. Now people could actually play Life Weaver, but I think it's just one of those spawn Life Weavers, 4 cup. Oh, they're gonna spawn camp. Okay, India's gonna do something funny here.
I'm already laughing.
5, 4,
I'm
Got the
amused.
whole squad laughing.
1. Attackers incoming.
I'm greatly amused, in fact.
Abs is actually not even in Viz.
That's Life Weaver
Out of
just
Viz.
to go for an aerial cut to
Yep,
scout. They don't
as
spot
expected.
anything. Abs is going to go in.
Iman's gonna do some flanking stuff here.
Cup's translocator has been eliminated. Now getting aggressive. Cup knows that he's a little bit in the drink and goes down. And Cash does also go down to the front side. They find Iron Man. That's actually probably enough to start things off with Ashkane getting back to base safely as they dust off Abs.
I think
and
Iron
not
Man wanted
translocate
more there.
safely.
He
Now Cat's
kinda just
flashed down.
died.
Yeah.
Kinda just died.
Kind of just didn't have defenses, didn't take them by surprise. Singapore will in fact start capping. India are coming back on the right picks to contest this and will have enough time to do so, unless Akash goes down.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's down.
left and dead.
He's down.
Didn't need to go in yet. Could have waited.
Probably should wait for 2 ticks. Generally, you wait for 2 ticks. Generally, you hit those dynamites too.
Yeah. They are still getting a contest in thanks to Iron Man's Ash. He's actually putting a bit of heat on Vips, but losing Abs. And they still don't really have a full squad. Akash is slowly floating back in on a Sigma.
That's a cap.
It is a cap.
Objective
Wow.
A.
Uh-huh.
Escort the payload.
So India have completely flipped their point defense as Akash now on the Sig. This is an acceptable hero for Blizzard World. I generally prefer the Diva for me, but
Ashkane. Oh,
Out.
Ashkane. Yep. Yep, managed to make
actually
it safely.
pushed Akash deeper in as well. Although I think India want to go deeper in there. Looks like they want to get aggressive, and they are.
If you add an E and an N to Akash's name and rearrange letters, you can get Ashkane. Just thought I'd point that out.
Very good.
Yeah. Speaking of Akash, by the way, down to one of Ashkane's mines. Iron Man and Abs, there we go. A little bit more awake now as they pick up a couple of kills. Ashkane has to go all the way back into the spawn to get his health topped off. They're not actually
really
stopping
are.
the card, by
They
the
really
way.
are spawn capping. Pretty spawn capping at the
Yeah,
moment.
Cup's still been pushing the cart the whole time, though. They haven't quite dealt with that problem
It's
just
not
yet.
going to
There
get
we
too
go.
far. Cup didn't even translocate out.
EMP onto the rest of Singapore, who are still stuck in that
It's
base.
a spawning MP.
Yeah. And they're struggling to make headway here. This is a little bit funny. Tummy low, but otherwise safe. India back
I'd
it up.
like to
There we
see
go.
if they can do
Ashkane's
this for
found
4
it.
minutes. It's probably not going to happen with Tommy dead, but
They
maybe they
did
could
find
have done
a
it.
good number of kills without losing anyone here. Akash, Iron Man down to a Dynamite, now Akash as well. Okay, just sort of pulling them that weird little bit away from the cart. There's plenty of time for India to respawn and come back in as Abs finds buffers in, translocates to safety, relative safety, I guess. Captain Prash, though, just in the open for too long.
Well, India did waste a lot of Singapore's time, so now that the payload's starting to get underway for real, there's a lot of distance to still gain. I was going to say, India need to make sure there's no, like, late deaths here, because they need to be able to regroup as 5 to go for these ultimates.
In fact, they have started not particularly bothering to regroup a lot, and it has started to cost them needlessly. I think they can just tidy up their play a little bit and ensure that they get this one. Only finding paper with that flux. They had a couple of members in the air, but only the one kill. EMP now across. And you do need to play carefully here. They lose Captain Crash. They have the Spirit Rush down. Akash dies anyway. Have to pull quite a ways back. This is where India do actually need to seriously
Get a defense
yeah.
going.
They need to get
A dynamite bounce off the top of that pipe. That was amusing, sorry.
That party was boring.
that's completely fair. You were amused. India need to get it together, or they are actually at risk of losing this one. I will just be clear about that. And they're still playing disconnectedly. Very over-aggressive here from these backliners, outflanking. It ends up paying off because Singapore are still just kind of caught napping. This is a peculiar Blizzard world. And it's not even raining.
Well, it should be. Based on this gameplay, I think the only thing that would really top it off is the rain on this map. I want to see all the players get their wets out, put the inters on. I want to see some slipping and sliding on the tracks.
Box. Imagine if we could hit the card. Oh! Love that. Just all three of them clustered around with the whole spot stuck on and Ashkane barreling towards them.
I call that being shunted.
Collecting 3 kills. That's silly. 4 kills in total, actually. 2 for the pulse bomb, 2 subsequently. And actually, now if you start looking at the time, again, as soon as India tidy up their play, Singapore are floundering. Minute and a half left on the clock. EMP on these back 2. No, overextension there from Abs, unnecessary. Bit greedy. Punny goes down as well. Cup getting aggressive on the flank. Now the rally running from paper. Singapore, they're taking this a little seriously. They have an opportunity here if India are going to leave it open. And now Akash in trouble. Immortality field deployed to keep him alive. Does successfully keep him alive. Goes in for a shatter. Finds Vips and Ashkane. Ashkane able to slip away to safety just barely. Captain Crash still kind of hanging around this health pack. Ashkane lowers to back away. Might not even get out. Will be able to.
The payload moves backwards. We're losing space and we are spawn camping again. Ashkane's dead for sure this time. Yeah, attacked way out in the open.
Sleep will confirm a kill onto Abs, but trading with buffers in, this pulse bomb isn't going to be a funny 2k. And charge again. Oh, paper in the corner.
Actually got the pin. That's a pin.
Yeah.
Wow.
Barely collects it. Very nice. And yeah, hard spawn camp. 30 seconds left.
Cash dies. Cash doesn't die.
He got me.
I saw it actually go down to 3. I saw 3 as well. Yeah.
Too. And now with 15 seconds left, India actually. I mean, Singapore is just going to go for the payload. What's India going to do? Who knows? Anything can happen. Daniel Hack onto Iron Man. Still doesn't die. They have to touch the payload. They have to stick around here. Iron Man hanging around the sides. May yet go down, but nope, staying alive. Incredible stuff there. As India are going to regroup, pull back in. Daniel Hack onto Ashkane.
Singapore probably win with ultimates, but they're losing players.
Heavens V. It's a 4v5. There's a nano boost on Ashkane, and he can't do anything with it because he's the only one on the payload. He can't leave the payload to get damage in. He's the only one here. Paper and Thuff isn't dead. They just need to contest. There it is. Abs trades his life for it. But the rest of the team is here. Iron Man is in the mix, has a pulse bomb, has to duck back off. They don't quite touch it. This is so daft. Da, 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 da.
Abs goes far.
What's that piece of music called? It's like Entry of the Gladiators or something like that.
It's just the clown show music.
It's just the clown music, yeah.
This goes back to Torb. They're spawn camping. Again.
Oh. There's some honking noses on this. Afro Circus. Cup still goes down, Vip still goes down. They are right in the spawn. The payload is right there. There's someone back pushing it. Akash is there to stop it. Again, classically standing still. Goes for a
doesn't
charge
get the
on
pain,
Ashkane.
sadly.
Oh, bit too much
Doesn't get the
pain.
shatter, sadly.
Yeah. Nearly had it, but not quite.
Abs is like super hiding.
Just sniping rockets. There's only 30 seconds left. It's nearly over. There's only 25 seconds to go. Puppy! Puppy! What are you doing?
Is it
I
final
guess
fight
he's
yet?
forcing himself to
Are we in the
respawn.
final fight yet?
Akash gets manually hacked. He's stuck in the corner. That's how it feels, buddy. It's nearly final fight. And all it takes is for India to just go in and win this final fight. That's what's so ridiculous about this all.
The real ridiculous thing is they could actually just lose this final fight too.
Yeah, Singapore have a lot of ultimates. all right. Let's all take a bit of a breather here. Cup goes in, EMP first. Nice kill onto Pummy and they're gonna, yeah. Well, hold on, that's a decent shatter. Finds 2. 3 now paper. Not on the cart. Which means we have to do another map of this.
10-yard penalty, unnecessary soft throwing, hard
What
throwing
an
actually.
own goal from India. I guess they're like, it's our last game. We want it to go as long as possible. You know what? Draw and push.
You have to pay more. You have to pay more money at the internet cafe though.
Oh yeah, Captain Pressure. I hope he topped up for 2 hours, not just one.
Well, if nothing else, it looked like all the players had a lot of fun there and enjoyed the rides at Blizzard World. That's what I could probably take away from that game.
I want to get off
Nothing
to Blizzard World's Wild Ride personally. But I am now. And India get to pick a map. What?
Yes,
on
India
earth?
do get to pick the push map. But look, at least, they had some fun. They both know they're not qualifying, you know. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the game of Overwatch.
Enjoy the game. It's just a game why you have to be mad. Indeed, we do play games largely for the enjoyment of it, for the dopamine hit, and my receptors have been activated, my synapses have been firing, my neurons have been transmitting electrical signals, mostly to my mouth, sometimes to my hand, as it approaches my forehead. We're going to go ahead and take a brief breather, and we'll see if this continues in this bizarre fashion in just a few moments.
You asked, we listened. The McFeast is back in all its beefy, salady, saucy glory. Value means more at Macca's, so grab a McFeast lunch deal now for only $5.95.
Hi, I'm Matt or Pixie. I don't care which. This is Kevin or Avril. He does care which. We're going to be answering some Overwatch trivia today. I want to say 2016.
It was May 2016. I think it was 25th.
I'm really bad at remembering birthdays, and like this kind of feels in that vein. It's like the birthday of the game. I'm genuinely terrible. I was with my last girlfriend for 8 years, and I still don't know when her birthday was.
That's why she's your ex and not your.
Yeah, exactly. I kept forgetting her birthday.
Yeah,
May 24th. Very nice.
I said 25th, right?
Woo.
Patient.
I was about to say Dominican, which is.
You would have been wrong. I
I
saved
would have
you,
been
but
wrong.
you blurted it out
Thank you.
anyway.
Thank
so.
you. Just well.
Diva.
All right. I mean, strictly speaking, she still is.
StarCraft 2.
Every single
5.
time.
Or 6. Anna.
Nepal? Is it just like quick fire until you get him?
I recognize it, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to remember the map. I think it's Ilios.
Well, it was definitely Control.
Not intimate enough for you.
No, not intimate enough. I'm not that intimate with Ilios. I'd love to hear the. Oh, this is gonna.
I know this one. Hang on.
Yeah. It's not. No, it's not.
God, I should know this.
Is that Icon Folder?
Oh, it is.
Oh, sick. Turns out I do care slightly. Oh,
By how much?
what a surprise! By a lot, I imagine. By an overwhelming majority.
but I'm great at pub trivia. Welcome back. 1-1 is the scoreline. We're in the most cursed universe where I actually have to say that sentence for real. Yes, Singapore picked up a map win, and it wasn't just against the second worst team in the group. It's against India, a team that yesterday nearly qualified. And you can see their dance moves here writ large. I'll tell you what, they were certainly the best dancers in this game, even if they weren't the best team in this game here, India.
Yeah, more dancing than gameplay, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, India using the emotes that are available to them to have a little bit of fun there.
They're in game.
While they relax, maybe.
They're allowed to push those buttons. There's no rule against it.
But there should
But it
be.
did unfortunately cost them the map. They will go to round 3.
Write a new rule in there.
I think a lot of things all put together cost them the map.
True.
I think if there had not been another team playing against them, they might have won this. I'm not sure.
I think I need to check the rules on
What do they say?
on intentional throwing. There might be a section on what section would that be?
Burden of proof is kind of high. You've got to prove that it's intentional. At any rate, though, if you're having fun, I have some good news. You get to see another one of these. If you're not having fun, I've got some bad news. Actually, I've got some good news. That's not true. If you're not having fun, I've got some good news. You can go and make a sandwich for the next 10 minutes.
If you haven't,
let's go.
If you haven't got your skins yet through the drops, this will at least give you more of a chance.
It's your time. Yeah. That's true. It's really, India are really looking out for you if you haven't got those skin drops. Let's go ahead and take a look at what map India have picked. Okay. Well, that'll be fun. We're going to Esperanza. We've only seen
Coliseo twice.
Coliseo twice, now Esperanza once. There you go.
No, there's been a third map somewhere. New Queen Street once.
Oh yeah, there was a New Queen Street. You're quite right.
Yeah.
So long ago, that was on day 1.
Marvelous. What do we reckon? What are we going to see here? Are we going to see a draw?
I want to
possible.
say we're going to see heroes we expect, but after the last match, I don't know what we're going to see. Are we going to see a ball? Are we going to see more Lifeweaver? Who knows? We're about to find out, though.
We're going to see 6. Well, actually, yeah. You know, still six Torbjorns and 4 Lifeweavers. That's what we're going to see. Let's get stuck in. Do you remember way early on when there was no limit on the number of heroes you could play? You could play the same one multiple times.
Try and forget that.
It was awful. It was really awful. And control maps were 2 Winstons, 2 Lucios, 2 Traces.
I actually can't imagine why anyone thought that would be a good idea.
Overtimes lasted like 5 or 6 minutes. It was.
Winston's shield used to be a 1500 as well, so you get 2 of them drop at the same time. That was lots of fun.
What a beautiful map.
The new maps do look pretty good.
They really
I think
do.
that is a universal standard. They look very well made. Quite pretty on the eyes.
Right the way down to the moss on the roofs.
Feels lived in.
No, we have seen an Esperanza. We have seen one.
I think you're tripping. You may be tripping. I've just checked, we haven't. Indeed, you were tripping.
I am
It's
tripping.
2 Coliseos, 1 New Queen Street, 1 now Esperanza.
Well, we've also seen 1 Shambhali Monastery.
2.
Yeah, sorry, you're right. 2 Shambhali Monasteries, 1 Nambani, 1 Blizzworld, and then all Circuit Royales.
Now tell me how many Nepals, Ilios, and Legions.
Relatively even spread, I'm going to say.
You're probably technically right, but it's a very uncommitted answer, so it's only half a point.
Okay.
Don't admire how uncommitted you were to that answer.
I don't think they would have a P sign for parking. Because I don't think the Portuguese word for parking starts with a P. I had that when I was in a Spanish-speaking country. And they kept having signs with a crossed-out E. And I was like, why do they have such a problem with E's
No
here?
electric vehicles.
Like, no E's allowed.
They don't like electric vehicles is what that is.
This is before we'd invented electricity. And it turned out it's
Portuguese
because
was ahead of their time, really.
obviously it was no parking sign. So instead of a crossed-out P like what we have here, it was a crossed-out E. Because the Spanish word for parking is estacionamiento. So I assume the Portuguese one will be fairly similar.
Is it? You know what? It's possible you just made that up. I can't confirm.
It is quite possible. Many things are possible. Cash getting slept is possible. Him waking up is possible. Vips and Cup dying are both possible. All possibilities exist in the game of Overwatch.
Ashkane dying, though, I think is the highest likelihood here. Payload hasn't moved, by the way, which is maybe a little concerning.
Iron Man and paper are made of opposite materials.
One of them is a man.
One of them is made of man,
One
the
of them
other
is
is
just
made of paper.
One of them is just paper. Well, payload's moving. I think they could be at maybe 30 meters by now, but they just didn't prioritize payload earlier. Comp looks good though. Do you appreciate a little bit of Sinatra gameplay?
Oh, because it's Sim and May. Got it. I was like, why is he saying it weird? And it took me way too long to figure it out. Cup. Raid form. Trying to get close to a cache. Doesn't work. Dies. Vips. Has to go cold in front of a cache. Dies.
And Abs is going to go all the way to spawn. Possibly.
This is going to be a cap for India, most likely.
Yeah, probably will be. I think shouldn't put too far away from this at the moment. I'm starting to get some ultimates, so Annihilation online. Ashkane's lived for the longest, that's probably no surprise. Spawn Shadow.
Oh, a cache goes down.
It guarantees the cap, but the cast just kind of randomly dies.
Iron Man's even going for a whole blizzard on Ashkane.
Well, they do get the kill,
Actually
so...
works out. They use the ice wall to keep him in line of sight for that little bit
Yeah,
longer.
that could have gone badly.
Bit cute. They find buffers in the Cup as well. Cup really likes the inside of the spawn. Why not, huh? Captain Prash was one of the two, and he will actually survive because
Where
of
is
it.
Captain Prash? I'd like to know where
I
Captain
have no
Prash
idea where
is.
Captain Prash is. He's alive, that much I know, which is insane, by the way. He literally just used a two-man sound barrier so that he could survive, and it works.
That's a good TP, actually. That was a really nice TP.
Rescued by the TP, so also doesn't die. This is absurd. Pressing forward with the Annihilation. Here we go. Ashk will start to collect a few kills. Still losing one of the trade there as a cash charges forward, finds Cup. Will finally go down. Long way to go here for Singapore.
80 meters on the first push, though, is pretty deadly. Even on a map like this, where cap comes pretty quick on that first point. Just a couple players still just chilling, still alive. They're gonna get cleaned up here,
Get
which
it,
is
chilling, because they're both Maze.
the other player I was referring to was actually Abs on the Moira.
Who is a stone cold killer? I mean, Moira is pretty stone cold, characteristically. That's about as much as I had to say about what's going on right now.
Yeah, we're just kind of waiting for the respawns.
I'm waiting for anything to happen, actually. I'm waiting for 6 minutes and 15 seconds to pass.
That's actually very accurate. I'm not
Very
gonna lie to you,
nicely
that's
done.
pretty accurate.
Yeah. It's because that's what it said on the time. That's how I knew a specific number. That's another effectively team wipe here. Paper the only one to survive.
See how long we get this push going for.
I reckon they're going to get at least another 20 meters out of it.
That'd be nice. Paper's down. Paper should be down. There we go.
There we go.
So because of the late death,
Blizzard is going to catch. I mean, the catch is already in the mix here.
Akash could just die here and just ruin the player advantage, and that would be a little bit awkward.
Abs going down to the rotation. That was a bit silly. Iron Man could have just gone in much quicker with the Blizzard. Still goes in. Bit late now. Cup teleports himself to safety. But honestly, they can also just defend and run out the clock. That's a possibility for India.
I think India could just finish the entire map,
Still having fun?
but they're not going to.
I might put my jumper on, actually.
It's getting too chilly for you.
Well, I want to hide the shirt. I feel ashamed now. Does make me glad that I
you know
didn't
what,
buy the coconut drinking vessel.
I feel for you. Yo,
Thanks.
cover up.
I even considered just going to the
Cover up.
supermarket and buying a coconut.
I think you're showing. To be honest, I think you're showing too much.
Really have.
That's too much skin.
Really have, yeah. Gonna drive the fans wild. We have a Blizzard available from Vips. Earth Shadow from a cache is already low. I think the healers have forgot to heal a cache.
I think Akash is also just really far up as well.
That does tend to be happening. No ads, it's too late. A cache is already dead. Iron Man, Captain Brash, all dropping like flies. Singapore are going to cap now.
Yeah, they should cap, for sure. India changing their comp.
I don't have much good
Fairly
to say about
significantly.
what's happening here.
You know, India could lose.
Yep.
And again, if Singapore, if they win, they actually overtake Malaysia.
I will say, if India lose, then everything I just complimented them on about posterity treating this squad kindly will be very resoundingly reversed. I think people will not view this as a very funny, memeable outcome. I think people will just be disappointed
it's an
that,
Ajax.
given the opportunity,
Sorry, I had to.
India chose to let it go. But hopefully that's not going to happen. There we go. Fighting two more. All right, India, back at it.
Back on the saddle!
Yeah.
Hey, so Barack right now.
I don't know that I would say I'm relieved. I feel like I've skirted
we go.
disappointment.
100 meters coming up. And if they want to cap,
They
40
can
meters away
simply-
from capping.
They can simply choose to.
40 meters away from just winning the map if they would like to. Big if. Huge if cap is
Yeah.
true.
They're gonna do it with like 30 seconds left or some nonsense. Vips
They
down.
would do it. Dude, Ash
Fucking
Kane
traded.
sat in the lava for a little too long.
Still alive though. A Cash, very aggressive, finally gets it with the help of Iron Man, who dusts off paper as well, finds Cup. Iron Man goes, guys, let's win. And I agree with him. Now he isn't Death Blossom.
Oh, we traded Torbs again.
Never gets old, huh?
Army goes off, Torbs, Vips goes on.
We've got a turret down in the middle in the spawn, so they can't be taken out. Nice Death Blossom. 2 kills collected up. That was an absolute freebies. Now looking to dust off Ash Kane. This should be the last one they need to actually get over the line. Unfortunate for Iron Man. Primal Rage running. They're struggling to kill Ash Kane. He's actually got an Annihilation now. So I don't know that India can get it right now. Lose Captain Crash as well. Akash looking to go down here. And there's still 2 minutes and 16 seconds.
Well, it's a good attempt though. Iron Man got 2. That could have been.
It was certainly
Could've
an
been the
attempt.
That Torb turret in spawn doing work though. Oh, yep. I guess that means Abs are swapping, right? Huh? Sure.
I don't think so. I think that's just Abs using an ultimate because he
Well,
has
actually,
it.
they're turning it around. If Abs lose here, they've made it work.
I mean, Akash may yet go down though. That's the real problem. Ash
poor
Kane
Brash.
just on a tear.
Full crash.
Thing is though, it's still a 3-2 for India. If it weren't for the fact that Akash was so low.
Ash Kane should die surely. As should Cup.
Yeah, and there we go. There's Ash Kane. So actually, it works out for India. They'll get back aggressive. Maybe they can cap this time.
Just got 3 there. Okay.
Having killed another minute of my finite life.
Yeah. That's quite mortal. You just got a reminder of mortality there was quite real.
Yeah. Well, they reckon the first person who will live to 200 has already been born.
That was a good boot, actually. Solid
was
boot.
really solid.
Had the Fresh still somehow slid into it, but solid boot.
Yeah, credit where it's due. Pummy finally makes it over the eaves of the roof and will shortly die. 60 seconds
no mercy,
remaining.
unfortunately. No mercy.
Mercy, no respite.
Or rather, another way of looking at this is plenty of mercy. Has been
It's perhaps been too much
maybe
mercy
too much
extended.
And I'm not a fan of mercy.
Really
at all.
not a fan
I
right
really
now.
do. I'm quite the mercy unenjoyer.
Mercy mains
Big
everywhere.
mercy disliker is who I am.
Mercy mains everywhere in shambles.
Yep.
Mercy mains aren't watching this. Oops, no more turret for you. Iron Man goes down. Singapore is still playing seriously because they could actually win. Let's be honest. Like they have an opportunity here. It's like
That would be all.
maybe
That would be terrible for Malaysia.
Pummy dies
Very
despite
sad
channeling the
Malaysia.
primal. Akash, despite channeling the rocket barrage, Akash is channeling the primal rage. Hasn't killed anyone. Hasn't died. Running down the clock. Buffers in. Staying alive. Singapore are going into like absolute overdrive right now. They do actually. They want this, and I really respect that.
They would have to close 80 meters, 86 meters.
Big
so
ask. Big ask.
Certainly
for
is.
sure. Iron Man is hanging off the side. Has Death Blossom. Teammate on Ash Kane. Not going to be able to get back in. Self-destruct will kill him, so it's a 1-for-1. Pummy is also dead. He swapped over
Fresh
with
solo beat.
Bastion again. All right. Captain
dead.
Crash is dead. They're like, let's maximize the possible length of time here by letting them push it even further and then winning in the overtime.
Or maybe not. Maybe they don't win the overtime.
Yeah, maybe India are like, we want to lose, but we also want it to take as long as possible.
Well, Singapore are going to make a good run of it. Ultimates are coming online very soon. Singapore are in a good position here to snowball. I think they still have to win maybe 2 fights, including this one.
All right, there we go.
That's a shame because Cubs had an ultimate.
Yeah, please let that be the beginning of the end.
Vips has an ultimate, maybe. Vips no longer has an ultimate.
Vips has Grave with his
Paper
name
has an
on it.
ultimate?
Paper? That's
Has
the
an
curse.
ultimate?
He's using it. He's keeping Ashkane alive, barely.
Paper no longer has an ultimate.
Yeah, and Ashkane dead. All right, it's over.
Alrighty. Very competitive game, I think. 2-1.
Yeah.
Super competitive.
Came down to the last fight in the overtime, but India
One of them didn't even make into the
not
final.
Not even there. Not
Pose.
even present.
Who's missing? It was Pummy. Pummy's
Yeah,
out there. He
Pummy
actually
is just like
quit the game. I think his time ran out. That's you maximize the amount of internet cafe time.
Flawlessly done.
And the computer turned off and said, "You've run out of credit," just as the map ended.
Well, we got there in the end, didn't we? India taking the win. It was definitely questionable at some points. There was a lot of hero changes, some potentially for countering, some just because, I think. So what an interesting end, I guess, to India versus Singapore.
And that was the final showing for India and Singapore. Yeah, unfortunately, that does mean Singapore exit 0-5. They'll take 2 maps total in the tournament. Unfortunately, they can't clean out a series. It was just a little bit too difficult this time around for Team Singapore. Yeah, 2023, unfortunately, is just not going to be the year for their World Cup team.
Unfortunately not. And, same as I suppose true for India at the end of it all. They do pick up that final win. Yeah, yesterday was the critical day for them, the do or die day, and die was the order of the day. A little bit unfortunate for India. I'm glad they had fun in this last match. I assume that's what was happening.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree with you there. I think it was, they could relax a little bit more. They know they weren't going to qualify out, and so they can just relax and have fun, which I don't think is an entirely bad way to end a tournament. They've been trying really hard for over the last 2 weeks, and they've put a lot of effort in, and so I think it's nice to be able to, as a team, just enjoy your final game.
I'm not sure I entirely agree with that take personally, but that is a valid point, and India did indeed seem to have a good time. Let's go ahead and, speaking of, have a quick catch up with Captain Prash, who is coming at us live from that very same internet cafe. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. We're all feeling happy after that win.
Yeah?
Good final finish to the World Cup. I think the most important day was yesterday. So I actually wanted to ask you a decent amount about yesterday's situation, because it was a really tight game versus Thailand, and you guys nearly had it all the way at the end. I mean, a final fight, 3 minutes left. So, I mean, we didn't get a chance to talk to you guys yesterday, obviously, but now that you're here, what was the sort of situation for your team in the matchup versus Thailand overall?
So going into that last fight, we were all so focused, and then I think because the fight went on for so long, honestly, things just low-key started to go out of control. The comms kind of went hectic. We did kind of lose control a slight bit. We were in the moment, and honestly, we just forgot to do a few basics and just keep ourselves in check. It was the final moment, and we were just 1 fight away. We were 3 meters away. But yeah, it was just we really felt like we were going to win there. And then last second touch, everything was chaotic. We didn't set up properly. As you saw, Thailand came out on top, and honestly, it was well played by them. So, a roller coaster of emotions.
But before I move on, actually, just one real quick question, just to follow up before I pass it on to someone else. It seemed like the game mode control is maybe where you guys struggled a lot on, especially versus Australia and Thailand combined. And 2 of the repeating factors there was probably the fire. I don't know if you would agree with that statement. It seemed like you guys were not really able to overcome the fire. Would you agree with that? And what are your thoughts on that?
We didn't expect them to play Faro, especially Thailand yesterday, but even going into Australia, we were aware, I believe it's Nanda that plays Faro, so we kind of of knew that Australia were going to run Farah. To be honest, it's a bit of both. Like we were kind of expecting like a certain way for us to really kind of go through the game, and we were just expecting to like play our own game, but we kind of didn't. We were thrown off guard, yes, but in the Thailand game specifically, I felt like it was a 50-50 on Lijiang. We nearly had it, and then we kind of we lost control.
I wanted to ask, you guys have been lucky enough to be boot camping there as a team. How's that been for you guys? Do you think that's been very beneficial to the team, like with camaraderie and stuff like that? Like, how's it been? Has it been good?
It's been an amazing experience. Like, we didn't qualify, but honestly, all the boys just being in the same house together and boot camping together playing, it's been a real good experience. Like, I feel like we've all become a lot closer with each other because of this. And even though we didn't get like the good expected outcome that we ideally wanted, to be honest, I feel like good friendships were made while being here.
And I suppose
I'm
gonna round it off kind of on that note. You've certainly made a couple of friends along the way. You're all done and dusted now for the tournament.
Okay.
You at least
Let
were
me
able to go
like
out.
turn the volume of this.
What's the plans? What are you guys getting up to after this now?
For most of us, we're going back to our respective regions and probably just focusing on contenders for now. For most
Not
of
even
us,
not even a
for the-
dinner before then. Not even a team brunch. Go for a coffee.
We are heading out like right now.
There we
We're
go.
gonna
That's
have,
what
like,
I want to hear.
We're gonna go have a dinner with like our three friends. Yeah.
Fantastic to hear. Well, in that case, Captain Crash, I won't keep you from that dinner any longer. Thank you very much for catching up with us. Congratulations to the boys, and even though you weren't able to qualify in, I think you really did your country very proud. You picked up some fantastic results along the way. Really tough group to try and qualify out of. I think you boys should be very proud with what you've accomplished, and enjoy your dinner. We'll catch you up next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that was Captain Prash, and that was India, and that was our penultimate series of this online qualifier. That means there is only one remaining. It's the Trans-Tasman rivalry. Australia versus New Zealand. The one you've all been waiting for. The real glory here. We're going to get stuck in after the break. Don't go anywhere.
You asked, we listened. The McFeast is back in all its beefy, salady, saucy glory. Value means more at Macca's, so grab a McFeast lunch deal now for only $5.95.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to rustle up a pav, to go grab a pie from the servo, and to toss a shrimp on the barbie. I don't have any New Zealandisms to throw in there because Australia has kind of dominated the market, all of those things,
Pavlova.
despite the fact that New Zealand invented the pavlova and the small portion have. Actually, no, they didn't. Comes from the Scotch pie, which is traditionally made with pork. So it's a Scottish invention, as it happens. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got on the docket. New Zealand versus Australia, the one you've all been waiting for, at least if you're me. I've got my pen, I've had it in my hand the whole time. I've been waiting for another opportunity to throw it, and I'm definitely going to do that again. We did just see India finally finish off their series against Singapore after, shall we say, playing with their food. It's kind of like when my cat catches a gecko and just introduces a bit of chaos before finally finishing it off, and then I just have to throw it in the bin. But no, this is going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to it.
Shout out to Frogger.
I am also.
Here's a thumbs up for you, Frogger. Thumbs up, Frogger.
Oh my goodness, and every other creator who's probably watching over this as well. But no, I'm excited for the Australian versus New Zealand match. I think this is going to be a fun match. These players have all played together before. They've played against each other in teams. They know each other.
Yeah.
So I think this will be a bit of a fun one. And I am really, really looking forward to the Color Hex versus Nanda Farah.
Absolutely.
Please, there better be one of those. And can you guys also just don't pick Circuit Royale for the second one?
Please
although
don't
they
pick
probably
Circuit
will,
Royale.
but-
That's all. I have one request. Like, if we're gonna have fun with it, have actual fun with it. Learn how to do fun properly. I'll tell you what. I will say this much of you Australians: you do know how to have fun.
Jacob and Punk want to play some Sigma though, and there's one map to play the Sigma on.
That is true.
and it's Circle Royale.
That is true. That is. Well,
play it on Kings Row,
They
right?
can simply choose
Not
to
really.
play Sigma elsewhere.
Sure you
Might
can.
not be a good idea, but they could do it. JCap.
I'm excited for
Yeah.
the Color Hex Farah with
gonna
the
be a good
pocket.
And you know what? There's a bit of a interesting situation here because Color Hex just recently won Contenders Australia on Team Honeypot. August, and funny enough, Frogger, who's committee on Team Australia, came second, and they beat Ground Zero, of which most of Team Australia is from Ground Zero. So there is that.
Interesting. Very
There
interesting.
is that.
Players that have played together before a significant amount. Funny enough, speaking of national rivalries, Kevin and I were actually just talking about this just before the show. It's a quite common thing for people traveling to go to Australia and go, I had a really good time, and decide they want to move there, and then they're not able to sort out residency and eventual citizenships. They go, all right, I'll get New Zealand residency and citizenship instead, which gives you the right to live and work in Australia. And then by the time they have their New Zealand citizenship, they go, I actually like it more here, and I'm going to stay. Thanks very much, Australia. Appreciate it. I like that
Thanks
you
for
let
that interesting
other people
tidbit.
find out that we're the better country organically. Really appreciate that one.
It's a pretty country.
It's got me
New
the
Zealand's a very
team.
pretty country.
Cuffer, who did not
Yeah.
play in Contenders Australia because he's an NA boy now, but everyone else did. So yeah, Team Australia, mostly comprised of players from Ground Zero. Burlog also did win Contenders Australia on Honeypot, so you got that. And then obviously Punk, who's got to be coming through probably second map onwards. If there's more than two maps, we'll see.
I've always been a fan of the
Vancouver
Australian.
Titans.
I love the Australian team names. They've always had a real fun time with it. Do you remember like the likes of Fusion Girls, Monopoly Club, Yes Men? So it just you'll have a good time with those team names. I do respect
Some of those
that.
had New Zealanders on it, so-
Some of those did have New Zealanders on it. Yeah, that's fair. They were majority Australian. I'll let you have that one.
Yeah.
What's that first map?
What? Yeah, so what's our first map? What are we going to? What's the control
Probably Ilios.
situation
Find out.
going on?
Oh, 1 in 3 chance, buddy. It's going to be Nepal.
It's okay.
Colder climates than the Greek shores. A lot of Greeks in Australia, actually. Not many Greeks here.
Well, I was just going to say, with Nepal, obviously, we can see some Farah gameplay. That's definitely got to come out with the high grounds, especially if we go to that exact one that's pictured there. So I'm ready for it. I'm ready for a good matchup with
tell you
Australia
what.
versus New Zealand.
The good news, if you want to see some fire, the good news about the map pool for controls, all 3 control maps are pretty good for fire.
yeah,
League
honestly,
jumping
yeah.
the
Yeah.
best of them, but all 3 are pretty good for fire.
We got some options.
So, you know,
I kind of do want to see
guaranteed fire, perhaps, especially for Australia who love that a lot, on those map ones, as they've done plenty throughout the series of matches they played in this tournament.
This will be kind of a bit of a fun one, I suppose, if we do get the Farah duel, because as we've sort of talked about previously in this tournament, Colorhex is actually, he's been supporting recently, so he's back on the DPS for this tournament. So shaking off the rust a little bit, and it'll be interesting. I'm going to say that much. This is going to be interesting. I've been looking forward to this, genuinely.
Scoreline, Domino? Scoreline?
Scoreline? Thoughts? Final predictions, Domino?
Australia's going to win this one, but I don't know by how much, because I don't know if they're going to
Well, it's either
be
2-0 or
fully
2-1,
serious
so-
or if they're going to have fun. 2-0. It's going to be 2-0.
2-1 with a draw?
That would,
Is this
that
gonna
would
be
still
where we
be,
get a
that would
draw?
still be a 2-1.
Still be a 2-1, but
So-
it's different, like, conceptually, you know?
Philosophically different,
Philosophically different, yeah.
but technically the same.
Technically the same.
So that's why I said 2-0 or 2-1. We've got a weather prediction for Nepal. It's going to be snowing.
Bam. You're good. Snow.
Uh-huh.
When was the last time it snowed? in
It doesn't
Australia?
always snow on mountains, though. I mean, it could
Australian
just
internet,
rain.
let's
could
go!
also just not snow.
Could just, yeah. If it's not cold enough, it could simply rain. No, I think if you get higher up enough, it's difficult.
Does the
for it to
rain
get warm
freeze?
enough to-
Does the rain just freeze?
Well, it's difficult for it to get warm
becomes
enough in the
hail?
cloud layer for it to.
Right, because you could be
not
above the
freeze.
clouds too, right?
Yeah.
Depending on the mountain.
Yeah, depending on the mountain. You know, a weird fact about Mount Everest is
Okay.
the person, Oxford, Nepal, person that we chose to name that after, he actually pronounced his own name Everest.
I'm glad we call it Everest. I don't think that person pronounced his name.
I think he
best
pronounced
could.
it wrong. I think
no, it's not
really
that it's
did.
wrong.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's perfectly optimized. You know,
Yeah.
it's suboptimally pronounced.
Suboptimally, yeah, it really didn't utilize his name to the best of its.
It's like, I think there's some improvements that could be made to that name, and that those improvements were made.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's glad
Absolutely.
for it.
Absolutely. We really, you know, really helped out old Captain Everest there.
Yeah.
I assume he was a captain. Seems like the kind of thing you'd be.
Private Everest.
Private
Yeah.
Everest. You know,
Private
that,
first class Everest. Good on you, mate.
you know that the captain of the ship that Charles Darwin sailed on was actually governor of New Zealand for a short time. His name was
That's quite a title.
Robert Fitzroy. At the time,
Good old
Captain
Fitzy.
Fitzroy,
I remember.
and then Governor Fitzroy.
I'm in good old Fitzy.
Yep.
Good times.
Really, yeah. I had a good.
So Color Hex is going to extend the hand, or will Nanda shake? Or is Nanda going to...
If he goes for the counter pick, the absolute
He's
BM.
gone for the counter pick. He's locked in the counter pick. Yep, he's gone for the counter pick. And
Trust
Color
Australia.
Hex is upset. This is a redone version. This is a 2023 underhand, underbowl again.
Yeah,
We're back to the
trust an
cricket.
Aussie to do it.
And
Good
the
grief.
underhanded bowl's back out.
Absolutely
20 years later,
horrendous.
20 or 30 years later. Don't
Yeah.
know which one.
I hope Nanda feels bad about it. Imagine tryharding in this. I mean, for heaven's sake,
Well,
Nanda.
actually, they do need the
Can't believe
seed,
they
so
do
I
actually,
can
yeah.
actually understand why they would.
They actually do want to get the
perfectly
first seed.
understand why they would
It's reasonable.
prefer them to try out. Actually,
I would like them to try adequately, shall I say. I shouldn't say too much. I was lambasting at you just before, but it's actually Burlong who suffers the first death as JCap able to make the dive happen. So that does leave Nanda a little bit up in, well, up in the sky, I guess, without a landing pad. Still has the better end of that 1v2 traditionally, but Color Hex finding out Quinn. So Nanda hasn't really kept a lid on Color Hex right now. August a little low. Looking to get topped off here. Should be just fine. Finn now down. That's the first death on New Zealand. So no res available. Trying to get the damage onto Nanda, who has finally found Color Hex. So there you go. Winning that traditional 1v2 against the Farah and the Mercy. And New Zealand actually cap in the middle of this.
yeah, so they do have a little bit of a lead, but they're struggling on members at the moment. Decent trades. Burlock going down gives opportunity to
Jacob.
New Zealand. But I think where Jacob dies here as well, no remake available. New Zealand are in trouble. They're just going to delay the point for as long as possible. August is not going to throw an extra ultimate in there, and eventually Australia will get the recap.
And honestly, respect to it. Color Hex has also made the swap over onto an Echo of his own. Opting out of the losing matchup. Hand shaken.
At this point, you don't need the Mercies anymore as well, so if you really want to optimize this composition, you start swapping off, go towards the Lucios, maybe a Brig, maybe an Anna. Other good options there. And Cuffer's still going to keep playing this jump coming from. Obviously, Cuffer's not going to match the Diva. Diva's probably a little bit more preferred here. Jacob does have a remix, so they have to go for it.
Yeah, throws down the self-destruct. Doesn't really get on the point. That's going to force Australia off. Doesn't quite force them off long enough for the cat. So New Zealand Still need to collect up some kills here with JCap demeched again. Now it actually goes for a swap onto duplicate rather onto a Tracer. We'll see if he can collect up something with this pulse bomb. Eyeing up Color Hex maybe, tosses out, won't quite find it. Still trying to throw the damage in onto Color Hex. Quinn, meanwhile, also picking up a solid string of kills there. Res onto JCap, but Finn trades his own life for it, and JCap gonna get demeched again here by the focusing beam.
And Jacob's not been able to stay alive for too long in this matchup so far. Has to reset off the map. Reasonable late deaths coming on through. I think Jacob's Diva it's decent for supporting Color Hex, pushing Nanda out, making his gameplay worse, but Kuffer and the Queen has been able to hold really strong on the ground. I don't think Kuffer's actually gone down yet either, so
I don't think so.
He's done a great job of surviving, and the survivability really high for Team Australia in that regard.
Well, JCap has also had to be a big part of the pressure on the point itself, so he's been able to support Color Hex a whole lot. That was a fantastic kill, 1-on-1 Color Hex against Nanda. Opens things up in New Zealand, and in good time too, because this is 90% now for Australia. Final fight territory is the Valkyrie running on
I think copy Queen and go for it.
Maybe, yeah. It seems like a reasonable choice here. Aki goes down as well, just a great extra little pick there, and here we go. The Jungle Queen having to go onto the point itself. That does draw Color Hex in though. Here we go. Duplicate onto the JQ. What's he going to find? Cuppa is down. The res on par as well, keeping New Zealand very comfortably in the fight. Quite lean for New Zealand as well. The only ultimate actually used here is the duplicate. They don't even need it too much. Still very worth doing.
I actually felt like towards the end that it wasn't required, but Color Hex was maybe concerned he was going to lose his life. He got reasonably low HP, so I had to confirm the duplicate to stay alive there. And New Zealand were trying to maybe get away with that without any ultimates used. Initially, I thought maybe Color Hex would start with the duplicate, holds it. I believe another player ended up getting a kill. New Zealand were playing player advantage, couldn't quite clean that up, and the extra ultimate comes on through. Now it's going to be Australia's turn to start looking towards ultimates. Two of them coming online between Nanda and Kuffer. That's a knife. That's a really good knife.
Shot out of the sky is great find by Kuffer. What can New Zealand do to recover? Because Color Hex is, just in trouble against Nanda there. No surprises. That's unfortunate for New Zealand, who nearly had a lot of ultimates at their disposal. Ended up finding nothing with the Pulse Bomb. August throws out of Spirit Rush, not getting anything for it. JCap gets one with the self-destruct, but not able to remake.
That was
unfortunate at the end there for New Zealand. They actually set themselves up for a potentially good fight.
Well, I think Australia were coming up with a lot more towards the end, especially ultimate-wise, but beyond that, Kuffer just had such a good play. A rogue knife, clipping Finn's wings, and pulling him into the shotgun blast. You lose your Mercy that quickly. Color Hex is done for as well. That gives Nanda a very clear advantage in the skies versus Color Hex. So it's not just a one loss. You lose your Mercy, it converts to a 2, and suddenly you're in a 5v3, and then on top of that, Australia actually have 2 ultimates to play through. So it goes from bad to worse for New Zealand extremely quickly as we now head over towards, I believe this is Sanctum.
Yep.
And Sanctum is where we have, no, it's actually not. This is, this is Sanctum. Sanctum is where we saw Kuffer play Orisa before. Jacob's read that. He's going to match Orisa straight off the cuff.
Interesting start here. Main difference is
the Farah again.
Yeah, Farah.
And this is actually better. I like that Nanda starts out on the Echo, but no Mercy. You don't need the Mercy here. Yep. Nanda should be at the 1v2.
Finn
and it begins now. It begins with Finn dead.
It's just been such a thorn in the side for New Zealand. Par as well, just sort of out in the cold there, very surrounded.
Yep,
now no surprises. JCap unlikely to make it out alive here, unfortunately, and that'll be a very brutally staggered death.
I think Color Hex should look, even a Genji's not bad. He's going to go with the Echo. I was going to say, if you want to stay on a flex DPS, I don't think Color Hex has the practice on the Tracer that could have otherwise been an okay pick as well. Possibly a Sombra, possibly a Hanzo even. The Mercy needs to go next. I don't think Finn needs to go for the pocket here. You're losing a lot of support on the ground by not having the Lucio.
Trying to get around the side, up angle onto Nanda with the Merciless tail. Healing him up mostly, a little bit of damage boost here and there.
Kuffer's
goes around Kuffer, but it's Pi who actually goes down first as Nanda has his number. Trying to get the dust off on Nanda, just ducking and weaving. Nanda
he's got a beam. He didn't
staying alive. And here we go. At least finally finds Aki, and Kuffer does go down in the thick of it. Still, Nanda finishes off Color Hex. Spin will probably want to try and go for a res at some point, but they need to sort of guard their beehives here first. Yeah, a little bit rough. Finally goes in for the res. Went down as well. This will be New Zealand rotating onto the point to catch it.
Well, Nando's played that well. I mean, he dies, but he trades power for it, so it's a 1-for-1. That's what I'm saying about Color Hex earlier. He should have gone for the beam with the Nando to confirm the kill. I saw Nando on half HP. That would have been the one to remove a huge threat away from Australia. Well, Team New Zealand, they recover. I mean, Finn, clutch ultimate, Valkyrie's in, saves Color Hex. Despite August going down, Finn holds the line.
JCap taking a little bit of a licking there. It's actually Cup already. Oh, just in way too long. I think he was wanting to line up for an ultimate, but
Check his ulting.
yeah, ooh, very aggressive and very nicely placed. Aki gonna get confirmed. Nanda finally as well. Unfortunate losing Colorhex, who was in there to help support JCap and follow up on that ultimate, but works out in the
This is
end.
a strong snowball from New Zealand. Decent ultimate coming through from JCap. You don't
Riz.
see Terra Surge get a lot, but a two-piece there, delayed two-piece is really, really good for New Zealand. They get the res in, which means they don't have to wait for respawners and go back and taxi. They can just play the chokes right up front. We're going to equalize 48 apiece now. This is getting a lot more competitive.
This is exactly what New Zealand need. A little bit of recovery here. That Colorhex versus Nanda duel ended now as Nanda goes over to Hanzo. It's going to be Nanda boost directly onto Quinn, who immediately helps collect up par. No more Immortality Field available either. Sound barrier from Bertlog to keep Australia safe on the charge in. Nice collection on Finn with the rail shot. And JCap as well. So Australia back in control of the point itself. New Zealand will have to find a way to re-enter.
New Zealand just lost all space there. Cuffle went for the Terra Surge. New Zealand had to back on out, and JCap, there's nowhere to go but falling off the map. I mean, you suppose you could probably try and run back to spawn, but Cuffle will just shove you straight off the cliff. Now for New Zealand. And they still do hold the lead for a slight moment. It does go away now. What an execution. Should be a res though. That looks reasonable to me.
You'd like to think so, but they're trying to mark the body a little bit. There we go. Goes in for the raise. They actually find Nanda as well. Opens things up a little bit. Immortality Field is gone. By the time they're really getting into the thick of it, they should have that back off cooldown now, rotating to the point. Cuppa taking a little bit of heat from the side. Quinn as well. Very deep indeed. Goes for a duplicate. Gets slept immediately on the duplicated Sojourn, trying to stay alive. No, will get de-duplicated, but while that's all going on, it does end up being enough damage to deal with the likes of Cuffer. Now, Colorhex, just more aggressive than I think he needed to be there. Didn't have power on the off angle. Has the res at least from Finn.
JCap pushed in, so Colorhex is there trying to support JCap a little bit. Cops a stray arrow to the face. Luckily, the res is available.
Final fight territory now. I would say both teams here. Quinn right on the point, taking some bombs. Nano boost delivered to keep him alive, and with the overclock, fantastic catch on Colorhex. Cuffer down, but Quinn is keeping them in it in a big, big way, finding Finn and Par both. There's just enough time for New Zealand to go for a quick reset here.
That was a great 3K. Fantastic 3K.
JCap! Late death.
Turns into a late 4K. And now it's final fight. JCap's not bad. New Zealand have to touch without him. It's going to have to be Finn or Colorhex. Chex is going to touch first. Australia not really there to pressure off, so this is going to be a decent delay.
Immediately
He's needs to live here. He does.
Manages to duck out now that there are other people who can come in and help support the point. Par taking a bit of heat will survive. New Zealand having to thread the aggro while they're getting members back. And if they lose someone, it's going to be Finn first. Now sound barrier for Bert Log. Nanda's still low though. Par finds JCap. Unforced error now. August down as well. And New Zealand not getting anything out of that last little overclock. 99 to 98. Won't say it wasn't competitive, but an expected win for Australia.
Yeah. A much better look for New Zealand on that second round for Sanctum. I think Village started to get a little bit away from them a couple of times. I mean, I think a lot of the early game comes down to the fact that Colorhex wants to start on the Farah, wants to see if he can get anything done there, but Nanda just has it's got the counter pick off the cuff. And then we can see JCap jumps off the map, sadly. He just kind of misplays that. I don't even think he got moved, so unlucky. I don't think their chance of winning that fight were really strong anyway, so probably just mercy death as Australia will take away 2-0 on our opening map in Nepal. Yeah.
I do like the fact that New Zealand is putting up a good fight there. Like, they know Australia's in, Australia's going to qualify, but they're not backing down. New Zealand's making sure that they are fighting for their place, and I do have to appreciate that. Like, we did have Nanda come out as the Echo, but then New Zealand forced him off the Echo. They made sure they had a Cassidy, they had an Echo again, applying pressure, and then Nanda had to switch to the Hanzo. So I do love the fact that New Zealand's going, no, you've still got to fight for this, and making it worth the while. So it's a really fun match to watch.
Yeah, so far absolutely has been, and a genuine showing from New Zealand in that second one, as we mentioned. Obviously, I think still a little bit in it here. New Zealand, they could well take it on the map off Australia. We'll have to see how things ultimately pan out. Obviously, still a little bit more on the slate here, so we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
You asked, we listened. The McFeast is back in all its beefy, salady, saucy glory. Value means more at Macca's, so grab a McFeast lunch deal now for only $5.95.
Welcome back. We're down but not out. 0-1 is the scoreline if you're a New Zealand fan. 1-0 lead if you're an Australian fan. Let's hope the boys could turn it back around and put the Aussies in their rightful place.
Running out of time and space to do that. I probably think we're going to go Circle Royale like the Sigma matchup that I think is going to happen and is going to come through. But a lot more competitive, at least on the second round of the poll.
If I'm not mistaken, the last time these two teams met in a World Cup, it was actually a 3-2 result.
That's correct.
For Australia. It was a first to 3 at the time. So, end of sentence, actually. I don't have any follow-up thought to that.
Well, it might be a 2-0 here this time because it is best to 2 here. But New Zealand are definitely putting up a fight. And hey, they get to pick the map. They might reverse sweep. Who knows? They're not out just yet. Like they are out of qualifying, but they're not out of this just yet.
They get to be the ones to pick Circuit Royale, correct?
True. This is true. While I wish they would pick something else, we know that it's going to happen. They're going to pick.
What if they absolutely spice it up and just don't? They just don't pick Circle Royale.
Could go to Shambali. I think that's a possibility.
Because if you can actually see it there, Australia have made a substitution.
Wait a minute, Punk's not
Nami.
here, so we actually might not go to Circuit.
Yeah, they bought a Nami, but not Punk.
Well, that changes a lot.
But
that actually does change a lot.
They're not the ones picking. They've just got to react to what New Zealand do.
But it still changes a lot because it means like you're probably playing a map where Winston's pretty viable.
Yeah, because otherwise you would just run Punk. If you're going to Circuit and you had to play the Sigma, you would sub in Punk.
You would.
Watch point Gibraltar. Yeah.
This will be our first. No, it's not. Our
No,
second
it's not.
Gibraltar.
It's actually our second Gibraltar. I forgot about that.
We played Gibraltar.
Singapore versus Malaysia, I think.
No, Singapore, Malaysia.
Who did we? It did happen.
Singapore, Malaysia went to a different map.
It did happen. Singapore, oh. It was
It
Singapore.
was Singapore. Singapore, New Zealand.
Ah, yeah, all right. So New Zealand are like, all right, well, we've won here.
We'll do it again.
Let's do it again. Let's take the Aussies to watch point.
Bit of a different matchup to that first one, but
Yeah, very, very different, one could fairly say.
I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah,
Like,
and that was Singapore's map pick, and they didn't even seem to know the map geometry.
now it'll be New Zealand's map pick.
This makes sense though, because then if you have a lot of the dive comps, you know, you're going to play, as you mentioned, the Winston or maybe Diva, you're going to control those high grounds. Maybe we'll still see some double hit snipers with the Widows and the Hanzos. You know, there's a lot of space, especially if you make it through to that second point, and you know, you can get up on top of that ship and control everything from up there. So I'm excited to see this one, and I think, yay, New Zealand, you picked something different. So I'm very thankful for that.
That's like the only benefit we bring to you. Like, well, you made it interesting. Thanks a bunch. God, the absolute arrogance of these Aussies.
I think there's going to be more snipers here. I don't know if New Zealand have the sniping firepower. Again, it's been some time since Collex really played the Widowmaker. And Nami is going to come in pretty hot.
Well, I suppose we'll have to see.
Well,
And,
probably not on the Widowmaker then.
We're going to be seeing fairly shortly, in fact, because the game is all lined up and ready to go. Domino, we'll see you on the other side after Australia take a well-deserved L against New Zealand on Watch Point Gibraltar. I like Watch Point Gibraltar. Always
Especially now that it's, I think, improved since we last saw it.
The new and
while back.
improved Watch Point Gibraltar.
The more fair Watch Point Gibraltar. That's what New Zealand really does here. You're not going to see the fire anymore.
Nope.
You are going to see some long-range players. I do like the fly-through. That's, unfortunately, you're seeing old Gibraltar here.
Yeah. Different.
You will be seeing new Gibraltar when we get in.
Different spawn layout now. Remember the old Winston cinematic set here?
Still set there.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yep. Yes, sir. So
I
here we go.
remember-
Collex is going to TP JCap out over to the middle bridge. August is going to pull him back. Let's go. Cuff has to make sure he doesn't get pulled in. Let's go.
Fantastic.
Par's going to set up all the way around the back. Get ready for the dives. JCap's then going to swap the Diva. And we're going to have some fun.
Stood
My question will be what Color Hex plays after the sim.
a ginormous oink and yoink. Cuffer.
Cuffer's caught here.
Collex goes
That's
down.
really bad for Cuffer.
Collex goes down, but he gets rezzed.
That's the thing.
Straight into
Cuffer's,
it.
he actually got hooked mainly as well, so I think Cuffer took a huge gamble there. That's going to ruin Australia's early positioning, so you can see all this early ground now. Jacobs immediately on. Collex has gone over towards Tracer, and August converts on Burlog. That means Australia's down one again, 2 in a row.
Really solid start for New Zealand. There's no two ways about it.
Like, as good of a start as you could hope for, really.
Yeah, you know, little bit of a I'm not gonna say gimmick. It's just a classic entry frag style setup play. It's like
They didn't even do the whole thing because Couple was just there.
Right up. Now he's back in the mix here, going right toe to toe with JCap, who's really keeping on top of him. Couple needs to be careful. Pulls back to his team.
Taylor's out of car wash now, so they've done a lot. Jacob's nearly on ult, but Jacob's done a lot of damage here in New Zealand. They're putting the pressure on Australia. Have to be the ones to respond. Get to get a
Hack
kill.
on Tsunami. Here we go. It's actually Quinn who goes down first and Cuffer. Again, still so low. Hack on Tsunami. Doesn't slow down.
Taylor's still pushing.
Yeah, this is getting a little bit dangerous. Nami eating some damage. Cuffer manually hacked. Damn it, back away. Cuffer's got to go in for it. He's so low. Self-destruct on the high ground for JCap. Zones them away. Collex gets dusted off.
That's a record time
comes
for A.
through.
Record time for A, by the way.
Wow.
Unobstructed Taylor pushed the entire way through.
Wow. Bit of a start. Nami in a very nice position up on this high ground, though.
That's
He's going to
Australia's first kill.
Second kill. They did pick up one on Color Hex a minute ago. Actually, they got a kill on Color Hex at the start as well. It just got rezzed.
That is true. Well, they are slowing things down now. Okay, it used to be in the past that this would be not quite a death sentence for the attacking team, but certainly a difficult place to be. But a lot of new attacking angles to head into B now. Also, the gate hasn't quite closed because the payload's not through, which allows a little bit more ingress for New Zealand. EMP's available now, but where can that be used? Because you don't really want to be diving on top of the shuttle. You need to be finding another angle.
Na'Vi gets dislodged the normal way. Finn throws down an Immortality Field, partially to save his own life. They go on top of Cuffer, but he's got his ultimate on anyway, so doesn't really do much to him.
Good pulse.
Nice stick. Collects up Bertlog. They need to keep August alive here. Nope, he's low. Cuffer able to finish him off, but no one really keeping tabs on Cuffer with Par dead and Colorhex otherwise occupied. So 2-for-1 trade. Colorhex in a bit of trouble off the side here. And New Zealand feel a little bit disconnected here.
They need to go for a reset very soon. They're losing a lot.
Colorhex down.
Starts so well. I mean, August gets a frag. Colorhex gets a pulse as well. New Zealand were in a reasonable spot, but unfortunately the solo EMP from Par left a little bit to be desired. 2 fair heals got booped away.
Finn and August eating an anti-nade. They will get to heal each other up though. So a little bit more ult charge back in the pocket for Finn. Here we go. Par moving back into position. Cuffer has received the nano boost as well. Immortality Field deployed early. Finn is having to use this a lot to keep himself alive. Aki down, Colorhex though. Quinn getting the better end of that so often. Great dive onto Finn, and nobody there really protecting him as JCap is aggressive in the dive. They find Cuffer though. Purple's back for it. JCap doesn't even lose the mech. Could have reset with a self-destruct, but doesn't have to. That's helpful with that kill on Cuffer. Now he can get aggressive. Dislodge Nami from this middle point here at long last. D-Max, but self-destruct to reset.
Yeah,
this is New Zealand getting some ground.
It's a rough way to lose your mech, though. I think maybe a little bit of overcommit. You force Nami off, and then you just have to try and survive after that, save a bit of matrix. I don't know, but you keep the mech, ideally.
Oh, Jacob's going to get D-Mech again. Nope, here we go. Finn is here to the rescue this time around. I was actually about to say, I have a feeling on the previous one, Finn didn't have line of sight to him just yet because he was still only just respawning.
Halo's starting to make a little bit more movement now. They got to get past the Bob. Where did the Bob go, actually?
Not sure. Unclear. Finn down, though. Burning to the Dynamite. Didn't have an Immortality Field, and August wasn't there to heal. Speaking of which, August now down. Bertlog. Yeah, Quinn and Nami just going on an absolute tear. The 1-2 combo to deal with the supports, and it completely stops New Zealand up. Still a good amount of time on the clock for them, though.
Colorhex wins the 1v1, but unfortunately the rest of the team died. Well, the payload had a lot of movement. I've got to say, again, not sure where the Bob went, but it did enough disruption that New Zealand couldn't quite push the payload anymore, because that would have been the pressure that they keep on Australia to force Australia to come towards them. New Zealand at this stage have to once again find a good angle for the EMP. The last EMP was not the best. Bubble is gone for Cuffer, so is there an opportunity here for New Zealand to make a move?
Maybe. He has to go aggressive, trying to find something on the primal range. Goes for Finn, and it's going to pay off here. Finn, once again, Immortality Field to keep himself alive. New Zealand are just going, look, if you're going to go all the way in on Finn like that, then that's fine. We'll dive as well. They've actually found Aki for their trouble. Colorhex does go down, didn't get the pulse bomb out. Cuffer does also go down. Important finds here for New Zealand, given that they've lost Colorhex. Finn staying alive as well in that whole dive is really important. That wasted a lot of Cuffer's time, and he's able to stay at JCap's back. That's the thing, JCap is having to do these counter dives without Finn a lot of the time, and then by the time the fight continues on, Finn has been dead. This is a much better outcome for New Zealand, but as the fight continues, they need to collect some more kills and soon.
Suna rushes back out again. Strong position to use it. Acting to defend this one. Nano to Cuffer.
Nice manual hack. Nope, Nano directly delivered self-destruct from JCap, but he's in the Immortality Field so that he can remake safely. No kills off the self-destruct, and didn't even get a whole lot of zoning. Par actually goes down as Quinn gets the wrap around. Colorhex now having to duck away from the fight to get a better angle into it. Meanwhile, JCap brawling up in this high ground. Starting to struggle again to make headway here is New Zealand.
Halo's starting to slip back again. They're really not getting any kills anymore. Finn's about to have the next ultimate. Another good Byronade coming through from Aki. Another Bob's got to come on like Nami here as well.
August not in that Immortality Field, unfortunately, and then Finn going down immediately after 30 seconds. This is the last reset that New Zealand get.
Yeah, and they're not going to get another EMP here. This is a really unfortunate place to end as well. I mean, it's a good amount of push for New Zealand, but they're not. Unlikely they can be, I suppose. Just the Bob's going to be too hard to get past. Cover's going to have another primal. Australia have so much delay here with the respawn just behind them as well.
Nearly got an early collect on Nami there, but not quite. He'll be a great target to find. No, not even getting the manual hack on a Quinn, and August is already down again. The Immortality Field super early and doesn't rescue August. Nice kill onto Cuffer, no primal, but rally running from Bertlog and the Barb out as well. Finn having a solo heal. JCap not able to reset the mech, did not have the self-destruction. They've deployed the window, not got much out of it. JCap's down, pulse bomb out from Colorhex, doesn't collect Nami. Now burning to the Dynamite, and no one was actually on the cart and all of that. Well, it's because they were all dead, I suppose.
Yeah. Albeit, they just don't have the ultimates to play through that last fight. Losing a player early as well, not going to help. Bob to finish things off, touch payload. Cuffer died, but that ended up even being inconsequential because, again, the rest of the players being alive, Bob to still play the tank's job, essentially. And so, in many other scenarios, Cuffer dying at 98 could have been a death sentence for Australia and giving New Zealand rather the cap, but not in that position. And for all the good that New Zealand did on A, which was a lot, they had more than 5 minutes, I believe, to work on 4B, which is a ton of time. They lost momentum.
Yeah.
And once Australia dug their heels in, it was very difficult for New Zealand to dislodge. Nami had a fantastic game and barely even lost positioning.
They lost it very early. In fact, I would even highlight a particular moment where very soon after the cap, Color Hex actually went down. And without the Tracer pushing even further forward, Australia, the surviving members, had time to pull back, reset, take a bit of high ground. Nami was able to get set up without being harassed by Color Hex. That was a big piece that opened the door. And then they were able to get a subsequent fight. Just started to stop New Zealand short completely. Reasonable distance. Still going to be a bit of a tough ask on this defense for New Zealand. They're going to want to burn down the clock on A a bit where Australia were unable to, and hopefully leave Australia with not much time coming into B if they do cap.
One. Attackers incoming.
It's a hard defense now and get match point. New Zealand must win. Australia, no opening shenanigans, no Roadhog. Choose to come on through. I don't think New Zealand would have fallen for that anyway, given that they're well prepared for it. Nami over towards the Hanzo this time around. Everything else basically the same.
Yeah, Australia not known for their cheese. It's more of a New Zealand export. We have a very strong dairy industry.
That's why the milk is so expensive.
It's because it makes you strong. I've never broken a bone. I drink a glass of milk every morning. Quinn, under heat here. Has to back away. Oh, might still go down. Collex wrapping around. No recall available for Quinn and no supports nearby. So Collex able to collect and get out safely.
Yeah, it's a good showing for New Zealand. A trade as well. So still in a good position for New Zealand. DPS is down. You've got to be careful about Burlong. Could be the next one down if not careful.
Didn't get hacked out in the end, and Par actually has to translocate away. JCap has slept. That's going to be an anti-heal on him. August in trouble as well. Very far forward, having to help JCap out. So able to keep some presence. Remember, Finn died once again, so this is only the one heal. He's back with the team now.
It's low HP.
A little bit of a moment.
JCap would not want to get demected here. He want to extend that life for as long as possible, but now Payload should start getting some movement. It's been contested, probably by Color Hex.
Most likely, yes. JCap anti-heal on him, forces the immortality field. Oh, here we go. Cupper's favorite. Dive on defend. Has it with the nano boost. That is back. Self-destruct from JCap.
Body block.
Yep. Cupper body blocks the majority of that. JCap will be able to remech, but no trades there as Color Hex went wide on the pulse bomb. Primal preserved from Cuffer as well.
Primal should be coming through this fight. They're aware of the Primal now.
Nice hack.
Primal rallied together.
D-mech rather on JCap. They don't have to use the Primal. That's actually, so big. Australia just fragging. And now August as well. They're just getting picks without having to commit ultimates. In New Zealand, it's happened a few times now where they lose a member, they don't get any counter trades, and they end up hanging around for quite a while.
And Finn's, by the way, going to have to change heroes, so they're back over towards the bat. A little bit of lost time and lost ultimate charge there as Australia sit on 4 comfortable ultimates, and the fact that they weren't forced to use anything means that they can comfortably snowball in.
Yep.
I mean, this EMP is going to have to deliver, and thankful for New Zealand. He's been detected as well. It's a little rough. They know he's probably going high ground now, which is bad for the pathing of Par.
Just takes his time, and this is
You should be able to get a good EMP here, given that Australia need to be at least a little bit stacked for the initial movement.
Long setup for Par, really.
It's got to happen now. We're going to go back to Par.
But again, the dive is already there. Onto Finn. Immortality field is gone. I don't think he got it. I don't know where it is. So here we go. Primal Rage. That's going to get Finn. Quinn traded out. At least it's a bit of recovery. But again, New Zealand always having to fight with one less healer. Bit of a whiff DMP. Very cheap fight for Australia. Only having to use the rally and the Primal Rage to use the pulse bomb, but that's a quick charging ultimate. And still, these late staggered deaths. Par needs to not die here.
We're almost on basically his final fight now. Still 3 minutes left to go, but New Zealand have largely run out. We'll have a second mech available for JCap once it becomes online for 100%. Consider rush first so to get back to the point.
Here we go, Dragon Strike just raking across, separating up the team. Kalex low, nearly didn't even get a chance to use the pulse bomb. JCat getting aggressive, has the self-destruct, and have to use the self-destruct. Finn there to rescue with his, again, with the immortality field. Okay, remake kill on Spurtlog. Spicy one, don't always see that. JCat nearly died as well. Couple manually hacked. Can they finish him off? No, Color Hex is down and misses the pulse bomb, and that just keeps happening. Sticking in it too long. Dollar bills in the eyes, not finishing off these kills. It's this weird combination of tunnel vision and lack of focus fire. You'd think that those two things are anathemic to one another, but let me tell you, New Zealand, we can really do it all. Quinn, though, does go down. New Zealand keeping it competitive, and they've got the amplification matrix out from Finn to give him an extra bit of damage down. Keeping Cuppa honest, has to pull back to Bertlog. JCat keeping the harassment up, but about a minute burned off the clock in that
They're
whole
not
thing.
able to route Australia out of this room. I mean, they have to get
And
this
they're
win.
still losing
And in fact,
members.
as they try and chase him, they actually lose a member. They need to be cleaning up Australia here. That was a 5v4.
Bertlog lived.
Mecca's gone.
Bertlog lived in all that. Tight space. Color Hex unforced goes down. JCat back in the mech, but Finn is dead. And I mean, they should have been able to collect up Bertlog there. It's just fallen apart. It will definitely be the cap, as unfortunately the wheels come off in New Zealand at the end. Tell you what, I still had a good bit of fun. It's always fun to play Australia because we win against them in most other sports. They can have this one.
And they certainly did get it. Clean second map. Gibraltar was well played, truly.
Undefeated.
A defense, quite rough. But then you look over towards the rest of the B, man. B was a good look for Australia, for sure. Attacking-wise, Australia very clean through the entire way through. Sanctum, 98-99. I think that was a good round.
Yeah.
Village was definitely more Australia-sided, and Australia 5-0. You mentioned it. Flawless 5-0. They did lose a map. One map, I believe, the entire way through. That was just the time. It was just that one, I believe it was Circuit Royale, and that was it.
I was going to say exactly that. Only one map lost this entire online qualifier, and it's to the other team that qualified out. So that is about as good a result as you could ever hope to have. And that's the thing. We expected this out of Australia. They've always had great showings on the world stage at these World Cups, even some hot individual talent that has come out of this region. This is to be expected. And you've got to have nothing but compliments for it.
Yeah, definitely. Congratulations to Australia. They're going to be so happy that they have been undefeated in this series. But look, props to New Zealand. They had a comp here that was quite a mobile composition. So I was surprised by it. It seems like maybe they just weren't coordinating their dives well enough on the back line of Australia. Mind you, Bertlog and Aki on a Brig Ana is a hard back line to sometimes jump because they're going to keep defending each other. But New Zealand felt like they had more of the mobile composition because you didn't have as much mobility from Australia. Like, yes, you had a Winston and a Tracer that could dive and things. So I think New Zealand may have struggled a little there against Australia, but I think they still put up a really good fight. And yeah, they absolutely snowballed on the first point and got it in so fast. So I think they did very, very well. But yeah, Australia's going to be so pleased with themselves. So well done to them.
It'll be interesting to see what group they end up getting placed into as well as they advance on to the group stages in that first seed spot out from APAC B. Top 8 is the farthest they've ever gone, which would mean they need to get into the group stages and then qualify out of the group stages into the knockout brackets. This is definitely a roster that wants to best that former result. That is always the ambition. I do believe we're going to be able to have a quick catch-up as well with the Australian team coach, Unter. Unter, it has been a while. I can see that the moustache has expanded further and taken over your entire face.
He cut his hair, though.
You look terrible. How do you feel?
And that's after cutting his hair.
That's after cutting your hair, yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, there's no worse feeling than topping our group and going undefeated for the whole time. So,
Of course.
yeah, I feel shocking.
Yeah.
Well, Max, congratulations on winning the sprint today. But what are we looking forward to now? So a good result for Australia. Last time you guys faced up against Korea in the group straight away. Maybe, hopefully, you get to dodge them around this time. What are the goals for Team Australia in 2023?
Yeah, I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, the goal was to make it this far. I looked at the group and I thought, Thailand, India, these are both pretty tough teams. So the initial goal that I'd set was let's qualify for the US so that, the guys that are all used to playing domestically can get a chance overseas. But now I guess I'm going to have to shift the goalposts a bit because that was really easy to qualify for America. So I think we're going to have to reassess and think, maybe we can take it a bit further.
Are you surprised? You sound surprised.
Yeah.
That was easy.
I was surprised maybe a week ago when Thailand just folded like origami, but now we're pretty much at the point of expectation. Yeah, it was easy.
Wow, you set the bar extremely low for a team that's reliably made top 8, Hunter. I mean, that is impressively conservative. Given that Australia usually comes in all braggadocio, talking about how they're not even afraid of South Korea, I do appreciate, I suppose, the realism, but I think you've just gone far too far the other way. Domino, what do you have to say to this clown?
Oh, I did just want to ask, as the coach, how did you feel the team was able to improve within such a short duration of this event? Did they grow as players? Do you feel they've grown as the team? Like, maybe a lot of their matchups weren't that competitive, but do you feel as a team they've grown and come out on top here at the end?
Oh yeah, that was all me. That was all me.
Naturally.
They were hopeless to begin with, but yeah, that was all me. I take full credit for that. No, they put in a lot of work. The players showed up a lot and they put in a really good effort to get as far as we did. We saw like early on that there was an easy way to get through the bracket by focusing on certain maps, because it was first to 2 and 2 out of 3 you could pretty much consistently force a matchup that you were good at. So we saw a way through the bracket and a way to beat teams like Thailand that were really strong on the dive matchups, and we just focused very heavily on improving one style. And yeah, I mean, we came a very long way on that style, so, easy win.
I got a final question for you. First of all, where is Face and why is he never in any interviews for Gladiators or Team Australia? And what are his thoughts on the run through?
Face is more of a concept than a person, you'll find.
Okay.
So he's around.
We all have one of them.
Spiritually.
Certainly do.
Yeah, everyone's got a concept, and Team Australia's concept is Face.
Okay.
It is ironic, I suppose, that he isn't the face of the team.
No.
But I suppose that's that famously wicked Australian sense of humour. Well, look, Hunter, I've got to say, it wasn't good to see you again, but congratulations nonetheless. I really do hope the boys are able to perform well. Even if your goals aren't that ambitious, I still think this is a team that should be making top 8 and should even be aiming to do even better than that. Let this be the best year yet, if only because you beat New Zealand, and I want that to mean something, damn it. Congratulations, all the best, and we'll catch you up next time.
I really appreciate it, Pixie. It was an absolute displeasure. See you next time.
Truly the worst. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, have a terrible one.
Well, that was my biggest fan, Hunter. Always a good time, always a real gas with that gentleman. And, well, that's it. That's every single game, that's every single match in the Group B online qualifier for the Overwatch World Cup.
What a clean scoreline, look at that.
I know, beautiful striation.
It's beautiful.
It will actually be 2-3 for New Zealand there, so we've got the perfect rundown, 5-0-4-1-3-2-2-3-1-4-0-5. That's my bank pin. Very long, I have a very complicated banking system in New Zealand.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And I think, on the whole, reasonably expected outcome, but I do think the journey there was fantastic. Some of those real hot matches, Thailand versus Australia, that was such a defining early match for the whole thing, India versus Thailand for that final seed, and sort of dashing the hopes of multiple teams at once. Even the early bout we had against New Zealand versus India was an absolutely fantastic match. Before we take this any further, what are our final thoughts just across how this has all panned out? How do we feel about it all?
I am really excited to see how far Australia can get. I am really looking forward to them, taking a place here on the world stage and showing the rest of the world that Australia has what it takes to, be a really big key player in Overwatch. So I'm very excited and very much looking forward to seeing how they go.
Well, and to round out the day, of course, it wouldn't be complete without the Macca's play of the day, and we had a good few to pick from, so let's go ahead and take a look at what it is.
Little Quinn, little 3K. Clean shot of the colour hex, and this was the ultimate that saved the day for Australia as well. It was New Zealand looking probably okay in this fight until Quinn shut them all down. That's the whole takeaway, the play of the game. And to my final thoughts on the overall tournament that we had was I'm just glad that it was really competitive overall, because I think when you look across the different World Cup groups that we had for online qualifiers, there certainly are, unfortunately less balanced groups out there, and there's about a bit of skill disparity, but here we had at minimum I think 4 competitive teams, and even the top 3 here were basically neck and neck, and Thailand versus India was the best match of them all. It was hyper competitive, and so we had a really strong showing on the top half.
And I think that is, again, actually, when all said and done, to Australia's compliment, given that they were able to qualify, not only qualify up, but completely undefeated. And as we say, may they go far. That is going to wrap it up. We have sent 2 teams onward and outward into the world. They will be flying over to the US of A for those World Cup group stages. This has been an absolutely fantastic time. I've been Matt Pixie Carroll. We've had Kevin Averill Walker with us this week, physically in studio. Thank you for joining us, Domino. Thank you to the entire crew who were involved in this. It goes to show how much it takes to put something like this together. It has been our joy and our privilege to bring this stage of the World Cup to you. And good night.